Arsenal have come so close the past couple of seasons, but it looks like injury could delay their long wait for a title. So off the back of the devastating injury news about Kai Havertz, how does Mikel Arteta feel?
Big pain in the tummy.
They have had some bad luck with injuries, but are Arsenal fans in danger of becoming a little bit Spursy?
The injuries that we've had to obviously Bukayo Saka, who's like one of the main players. Then you look at Odegaard's out for a while. Obviously Havertz got his hamstring injury, and the squad.
Sorry, is it Perry or is it Ange? I can't work out who's in here. Sorry.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just telling you the facts, mate. That's what we do, mate.
Regardless, Troy Deeney's got no sympathy about their lack of a striker, because surely they've known for ages that they clearly need one.
We keep talking about January. This issue has been going on for 18 months now, so they could have done it in the summer. So could have got an Ivan Toney and the like. Yes, there was a few bits around it, but if you were really serious, we all know, very good goalkeeper, solid back four, an excellent back four, midfield is excellent, wide players are really good. It's just that one key piece, isn't it, to get them over the line.
We'll find out how they fare without Havertz in the early kick-off tomorrow against Leicester, which is live on talkSPORT. Another striker out for a lengthy period is Nicholas Jackson. He'll miss Chelsea's second clash with Brighton this week, but former Chelsea midfielder Steve Sidwell reckons it's a good opportunity for other players to step up.
Your Sancho's, your Madueke's and Nkunku probably you could say has been a bit unfair with the run of games that he has, but he's got a chance now of possibly getting a string of games of together now.
That one's live here on talkSPORT this evening. Sticking on the subject of strikers, it's Haaland versus Isak tomorrow, and Eddie Howe was asked if this is the battle of Europe's best strikers.
Yeah, certainly. I think when you look at Haaland's consistency over a long period of time, there's no doubting that, and Alex is certainly doing the same. We're looking to try and get him in the game as much as we can. We need to provide the foundation for him to perform at his best levels.
And on Sunday, Liverpool take on Wolves. Arne Slot spoken for the first time since his post-match red card during those chaotic scenes at Goodison.
The emotions got the better of me, and if I could do that differently, if I look back at it, I would love to do it differently.
You can listen to all the Sunday goals as they go in on the Sunday session, live here on talkSPORT.
Checking my microphone was actually on then. Biggest fight card of all time coming up. We're there, of course, February the 22nd, next Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But just have a little tease listening to this.
To the winner by majority decision.
Last 10 seconds.
Look at this. People's trying. They're both trying, aren't they? The referee has to split them up. Was that second time in the fight only?
Gentlemen.
Bivol, Batemiev, take your hats off to both of them.
And now the unified, undisputed world champion.
I've got 114, 114.
Yeah.
Oh my days, this is horrific, isn't it? 116, 114. Batemiev for me is the winner. This is close, guys. Exactly what we was expecting.
But I do think we need to see a second fight.
Off balance and scores the knockdown. Does better be it.
This isn't the card of the year. It's not even the card of the decade.
Dubois hits him with a tremendous right-hand counter, and I don't think Joshua's going to get up. Are you ready today?
This is unequivocally the greatest fight card we have ever seen.
Williams into the corner, and they'll stop it. The captain steps in. Massive right hand from Chile Chang, and down goes Joe Joyce, and he is not going to get up from this.
Whether you're dedicated fans or casual fans, you tune in because you are going to see something exceptional on the 22nd of February.
Well, an extraordinary build-up there to what is going to be an amazing card. Do we
yes, I think we can say this is the strongest card of all time. When you look down the card and see the fights that we've got on there, and to give people an idea, when you're talking about Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith for the WBO interim light heavyweight title at the bottom of the card. I mean, it's quite phenomenal. Yes, we've had great cards before where we've had 2 or 3 fights on there, Gareth, but in depth, this one by far blows everything out the water.
3 interim titles, 3 world titles, 1 undisputed title. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
It's incredible. It really is. I mean, for boxing fans, I mean, what more do you want? You know, when you think Riyadh season, Turkey Al-Sheikh, when they come onto the scene and they were giving us these decent cards, and you think, how can he better that? How can he go again? And he's done it here. I mean, this card is phenomenal. And listening to that piece there, by the way, with the Rocky theme music in the background, everything else, we're going out there tomorrow. We leave tomorrow to go out there. I can't wait. That sends shivers down my spine. It really is. It's going to be a fantastic week, an amazing fight night.
And it's going to be a 3 hours where we're just going to be smiling at each other, isn't it? Because we aren't even at loggerheads yet. And it may not. I'm grinning thinking of that card that we're actually finally here. We've got. You and I have been discussing this before we came in today in our planning meeting, and just the titles on the card. You've got a fantastic stat, and I thought you're going to have the same stat as me when we were chatting, but we've got different ones. Let's just throw a few of those out there before we look at the entire card.
Right, so just to give you how decent this card is, yeah? So I was going through the card and we were looking through the stats, and I was putting all the records together, and I'm thinking, there's a lot of O's on there and not many losses. And I thought, let me just tally everything up. So a combined record on this card with the 14 fighters that are on there is 333 wins and 12 losses. I mean, that is quite incredible when you think from top to bottom. It's an incredible card.
Did you not add up how long all of them have been boxing and do it in several hundreds of years for me?
No, I thought I'd leave that for you.
No, well, I haven't. What I've done is this, a very similar thing to you. If you look on the left-hand side of the card, obviously defending champion, for example, Artur Beterbiev, and we'll go down the entire card in a minute. On the left-hand side of the card, it's 177 wins, 6 losses and 1 draw. And on the right-hand side of the card, it's 174 wins, 7 losses and 1 draw. Now, I don't know if that tallies up with yours. I hope it does. The mathematicians out there with your calculators going over it now, or if you can do it in your head, may well be able to tell us if we're wrong. But the stats alone, the stats don't always tell the story. This is a staggering event, and it's one of those events that hopefully people will be in early. It's not a night to go out and have a drink and then come back and watch the last few fights on the card. It's a startler from the very bottom to the very top, with massive ramifications all across the board in boxing.
Absolutely. Listen, like you say, 3 world title fights, 3 interim world title fights on there. You know, for the winner, there's huge nights ahead. It really is. And you know, how could you not want to see the first fight on the bill when you go Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith? That would top a bill anywhere. I mean, it's a phenomenal card.
It's a 20,000 audience at the O2 Arena. It's a sellout. You couldn't get a ticket in Liverpool. Maybe it could have... I don't know, it's a stadium fight, but if it was built up in the right way, it could be in a small football stadium. It's a big fight. We're not going to pick our winners, by the way, till the end of the show tonight, but we want you to call in and ring us tonight and text us and give us your view on who you think will win all these fights. Contact the show on 03717 223344, and you can text us on 81089. Calls to this number, by the way, will cost 13 pence per minute plus your provider's access charge. You can email us for free, by the way, via the website talksport.com, or tweet us on @talksport. Let's go to that first fight then that we're talking about. Callum Smith, former undisputed number one, he was number one in the world. Was he undisputed? I don't think so. No, he was ranked number one at super middleweight. Yeah. He lost it to Saul Canelo Alvarez, didn't he? In a great fight. But he's moved up to 175 light heavyweight, where Joshua Buatsi has been since an Olympian and he has had a slow burn, but this is a massive test for Joshua Buatsi, isn't it?
It's a coming-of-age fight for Joshua Buatsi. You know, I think he is proven, but this is a coming-of-age fight because Callum Smith, you look at him and you go, yeah, Gareth, you're right. He was in the pound-for-pound list at one time. You know, when he was down at super middle, he looked very, very difficult to beat. He lost to Canelo Alvarez. Weight maybe becoming a problem. He's a big guy, 6'3", for a super middle was always going to be a struggle. Moved up to light heavyweight, and he's done nothing wrong so far. It's going to be an interesting fight, this one, because Buatsi, as we know, like you say, Rio 2016, bronze medalist, turned professional.
9 years ago.
Yeah, they've done it the right way with Joshua, though. They, you know, it's all about the progression and development, and they're taking their time with him. Now he gets his opportunity on this huge, huge card, huge stage.
We're going to be talking about this all tonight, and we're going to do our picks, of course, towards the end of the night, but we do want yours, as I've said just now, on those contact channels. I'm going to whip through here because we're going to move to the next section because we've got so much to do tonight. But Zhilei Zhang and Agit Kabayel, vacant WBC interim heavyweight title. Virgil Ortiz, Israel Madrimov for Ortiz Jr.'s WBC world interim super welterweight title. Oh my God, I'm salivating. Carlos Adames, the chance for Hamza Shiraz to win the WBC middleweight title. We're going to talk about this all tonight. Shakur Stevenson, one of the most gifted purveyors of boxing in a ring in this modern era, against Floyd Schofield, a great undefeated prospect for Stevenson's WBC lightweight title. And if that's not enough, Daniel Dubois against Joseph Parker, which could easily be the main event for Dubois' IBF heavyweight title, the title that Dubois obviously took and beat up Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium 6 months ago, 5 months ago now, and carries his weight into what is probably one of the most destructive forces in the heavyweight division right now against a much bigger Joseph Parker. And then, and we will talk about this in detail, Artur Beterbiev against Dmitry Bivol, undisputed light heavyweight title fight, the rematch, the last crescendo for Beterbiev's WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the Ring Magazine belt. Very quickly, Spencer, how exciting is that card?
That's incredible. I mean, every single fight you mentioned there is like, you know, you could top a card anywhere. Unmissable. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, you've got the Shakur Stevenson, unbelievable. Carlos Adames, by the way, Hamza Shiraz, coming of age fight for Hamza Shiraz, done nothing wrong so far, but the Cuban Carlos Adames, he can fight, man. Trust me on that one.
Top Rank involved, Eddie Hearn involved, Ben Shalom involved, Frank Warren involved. Frank joins us shortly on the show. Golden Boy involved as well, Oscar De La Hoya's outfit. Next Saturday, talkSPORT will bring you live commentary of the undisputed light heavyweight showdown as Artur Beterbiev defends his titles against Dmitry Bivol. Yeah, we'll be there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Subscribe, by the way, to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel and stay tuned for exclusive content from Riyadh throughout Fight Week. That's Beterbiev versus Bivol, live and free to listen to next Saturday and to watch us in action. Watch along on talkSPORT. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. Thanks for the dance tunes. That is a tune. After defeating Otto Wallin by unanimous decision last Saturday night, where we were, of course, Spencer and myself, for talkSPORT with the team, Derek Chisora joined White and Jordan this week. You were there as well, Spence, to reveal who he's eyeing for his 50th and final fight.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
You called out Usyk. Is he the one you really want?
Yes. I was meant to have dinner with him yesterday, and he let me down. I think he gave me the wrong address.
Did you offer to pay? That's probably why I didn't turn up.
No. But I think he gave me the wrong address. We were meant to meet at Nobu, and he sent me to the wrong Nobu, so I'm a bit upset with him. I'll see.
So you're meant to have dinner with Usyk yesterday here in London.
He's in London. Yeah.
He's in London. It didn't happen. You clearly feel you can beat Usyk.
100%.
But how couldn't Fury? How couldn't Joshua? How can you?
Because they had a game plan. I don't have a game plan.
But you're 100% serious that you want Usyk.
I'm serious. Joshua, Fury had a game plan. I don't have one. I've just got the leather gloves, just chuck them.
Well, he loves the game. He loves the fame. He loves the pain. He loves the paychecks. He's crazy, isn't he, to think he can beat Oleksandr Usyk?
Well, every fighter's got to think that. That's the way that you have to think as a fighter. You know, you've got to go in there with that.
Almost deluded, but not deluded in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if he goes in there thinking that he's not going to beat him, then, you know, he's just going to go in there and get absolutely hammered. Derek Chisora is what it says on the tin, war, and that's what he brings. He's no technique. He goes in there to have a fight, rough his opponents up. And as we saw when he boxed Oleksandr Usyk, it worked for him in a few of the rounds where he went in there. Usyk was surprised by his strength. Derek went in there with no sort of technique and just tried to rough him up, make it a street fight, and it worked in many ways. Oleksandr Usyk actually said to our guy George from the website, he actually said, when asked what was your hardest ever fight, and he said Derek Chisora.
Well, we're going to hear that in a minute, but and I do understand it and I do hear it. That was 5 years ago, though. He wasn't a fully fledged heavyweight then. Are we being unrealistic? And we'll speak to Frank Warren about this, his promoter, in a little bit, Spencer. Are we being unrealistic to be placing him in there with an Oleksandr Usyk? Look what happened to him when he went into the ring in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on December the 3rd, a couple of years ago, against Tyson Fury. He wasn't up to it. Do we need to assess this based on the performance on Otto Wallin that wasn't amazing on the night, who didn't show a great deal of tensile strength and a lot of drive and attitude? I'm not taking anything away from Derek. It was magnificent. It felt like the right moment to walk away. Far be it from me to retire him. Far be it from me to stop him from being a world champion again, even though I don't want my head shaved, and I'm not having my head shaved, and all that shenanigans. I'd want nothing more for him to win a world title. But has he had enough? And should he be going in against the most dangerous fighters in the heavyweight division?
Well, here we are. Here's how it plays out for me, right? All these heavyweights now that we've talked about, and I think we were right in what we said there at the beginning of the year or the end of last year when we said they're all in the twilight of their careers now, and there's a new generation of heavyweights like Moses Atuma that are coming through to take the torch from all these guys. You look at Tyson Fury, he's retired at the moment. Will he come back? He may have one more fight. Oleksandr Usyk said he's going to have 2 more fights. He's done. Derek Chisora, he's got 2 more left in him. He's done.
One, isn't it?
One. Oh, actually, sorry, 1. Yeah, he said 1.
Maths again.
Sorry, come on, Spence. Yeah, he's got 1 left. Anthony Joshua, he'll fight once, maybe twice more. You know, and they're all going to be looking to box each other, right? So if you look at Oleksandr Usyk, we now know Usyk said that he wants the winner of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker.
We're going to get him in a minute.
Yeah. So he wants the winner of that. That's 1 fight for Usyk. So who does he go out with? What's the last dance for him? What else is there to do?
Well, let me answer it. It's either a Dillian White or a Joe Joyce again, if Joe Joyce or Dillian White win in their encounter, which we'll talk about later, April the 5th, I think it is. Deontay Wilder. And we both said it, a fight in Africa with like a Francis Ngannou or in Africa with Deontay Wilder. I don't want it to be against a Daniel Dubois. He brought those posters out Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois, no, it wasn't Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. He's never going to fight. Have you been on the WhatsApp group this week, and is he going to fight Anthony Joshua or not?
He's not in the WhatsApp group, believe it or not. He did boxer Finchley as well. Derek Chisora is the only one that's not in there. I think he's too mad. He's not in there. I speak to him personally.
Ping,
Actually,
2 in the morning, ping, 3 in the morning.
Absolutely. I've been speaking to Derek a lot recently, actually, and, you know, because he is coming to the end of his career. He's much more humbled now. You know, he's had a great ride, you know, and I think that the public perception of Derek has changed massively. He has become a nation's sweetheart in many ways in the boxing world.
He's a folkloric figure.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gone from the thug phase into that. People now respect what he is. Like, they pay
he's gone
good
from
money.
rogue, from villain into cult hero. Well, look, this will play out, and we'll ask Frank Warren about it shortly. But as Spencer just mentioned earlier this week, Oleksandr Usyk spoke with talkSPORT's George Glinsky about the upcoming fight between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, while also revealing the toughest opponent of his career. We're ready now.
Oleksandr, a pleasure to be here with you under such a beautiful backdrop here in London. You've said this is a place as your second home. What is it about England and London in particular that resonates with you?
Oh my God, I like London. I like people who live here. This don't have a lot of sunny, but I'm here now.
Because you've been welcomed with open arms by British fans. Of course, you've beaten so many of our fighters over the year, coming off 2 back-to-back victories over Tyson Fury. I wonder, who is the toughest opponent you have faced?
I think it's Derek, my friend. Hey, Derek, I'm coming for you.
What was it about Derek that stood out to you? Why was he the toughest of the lot?
Oh, because Derek is a terrible guy, like a terrible, tough, terrible tough. I don't know, but just hard with Derek was. Було важко і все.
Very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
And obviously, your last opponent, Tyson Fury, he's announced that he's retired. Do you believe that he's stepped away from the sport for good?
I don't think about it. I think it's not true. Tyson, now they'll relax, the rest. Maybe Tyson and back. Listen, boxing, if you do this a lot of time, 10, 15, 20, 25, boxing is like a drug. If you not go to training one time on day, you feel bad. For me, it's me. I training every day, but not I not do my everyday boxing. It's like CrossFit, running training, school. I make boxing only when my camp.
I'd be remiss not to ask about your future. Of course, you've achieved seemingly everything there is to achieve in this sport, undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight. What is left for Oleksandr Usyk to achieve in boxing?
Another heavyweight fight, 22 December or February. Who win this fight? Daniel and Joseph. I already make fight.
That's who you want to fight, the winner of Parker and Dubois?
Yeah.
And who do you think will win that?
Daniel and Parker. 52 it's Daniel. 48 the Parker.
Very specific.
Prediction my team.
Ah, lovely. And as I say, as one generation comes to a close, another one takes over. Who do you think will succeed you as the next heavyweight king?
Moses Touma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, I think Touma have big future.
And then finally, from me, obviously you've won world titles at cruiserweight, you've won world titles at heavyweight. There's a division in between that a lot of people talk about. It's questionable how much renown it has, but the Bridgerweight division, which is 224 pounds, is there ever any consideration of you potentially going to that division and becoming a 3-weight world champion?
No.
No.
Now I think. Я подумаю зараз. I still now.
No, because you wouldn't move back to cruiserweight either, obviously.
Bridgerweight, yeah?
Bridgerweight, yeah. No consideration. Heavyweight till the end then?
I didn't think about this. I have cruiserweight and heavyweight.
Doesn't make any sense for him to go to Bridgerweight or Cruiserweight, and if Jaya Pattaya wants to come up when he's unified, if he does, or he becomes undisputed champion at Cruiserweight, then he moves up. That's a great fight. The most fascinating thing there for me, Spencer, is he's saying the right thing, which is, I'm ready to fight the winner of Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. Whoever else is in the milieu for that fight, the potential fight with him, whether it be Derek Chisora, as you say, for a last dance. I like the fact that he wants to fight the winner of Parker and Dubois, because those are the two hot heavyweights right now, aren't they?
Absolutely. You got to respect Oleksandr Usyk. He takes on everybody, anywhere, anytime. And to take on the winner of Joseph Parker, who's in form, Daniel Dubois, who's in form, and the people are saying, he's 27 years of age, just come of age really now. He's, now believing in himself. The team up with Don Charles has been brilliant. To take on the winner of that, you got to respect this man. He's been there, seen it, done it. He's got nothing else to prove, nothing else left, but he's still going in there with the big guns.
And he's still doing it, and he's still proving it. Coming up next, we're going to discuss an extraordinary boxing schedule that's come together now in the last couple of weeks, taking us all the way to April. My word, what a time we are in for boxing. Well, what an incredible boxing schedule there is coming up in the next 4 months, 2.5, 3, 4 months. It's an incredible time for the sport. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth, Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen, Oliver. We have touched on Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol and the extraordinary card. 3 world titles, 1 undisputed, 2 other world titles, 3 interim world titles. The greatest card ever, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. I cannot remember the beginning of a year where we've had an outlay like this, Spencer, Oliver.
No, it's been incredible. I mean, you look at what we've got coming up, what we've already had, you know, is quite incredible. I mean, boxing is going from strength to strength. These cards are absolutely insane.
We were obviously at Derek Chisora last weekend. We will be across Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza Jr. at the same Co-op Live arena in Manchester as the show progresses. But March the 1st, one of the names who kind of fights once a year but is clearly one of the biggest stars in America at the moment, Gervonta Davis fighting Lamont Roach in New York in a big event for Roach, but Gervonta, and for me, he's top 5-6 pound for pound. He could even go to number 1.
Totally agree with you. Gervonta Davis is excitement. He puts bums on seats. You know, he's fan friendly, TV friendly. You know, and he's exciting to watch. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Lamont, but it's all about Gervonta Davis. He's the superstar. You
it's
know,
his show, isn't it?
Show.
He owns it. Yeah.
He absolutely owns it. I mean, anyone that's not seen him, southpaw, heavy-handed, very heavy-handed, exciting, Tyson-esque at times.
He's got that vibe, he's got that electricity about him, very much a villain, isn't he? Plays the bad boy, plays the villain, arrives in super tank cars, his clothes are extraordinary, XXXL, he's arrested all the time for misdemeanors. He is the traditional bad boy in American boxing that becomes famous. And the other thing about him is, if we look at the way that boxing's coming together at the moment under the Saudi Arabians and Turki Al Sheikh and the promoters working together on DAZN, he's the one big figure with Al Heyman, Premier Boxing Champions, who are on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, for him, there's massive fights out there. And because of what's going on in the landscape of boxing right now, you know these big fights are going to be made. You know, I think that all this now with different networks and percentage splits, etc., pay-per-view splits, that's all gone now. Dead and buried in the water. The best are fighting the best. It's all about modern eras. And we're going to get that with Gervonta Davis. And he's going to get the opportunity to prove he's number 1. Do you know what, Gareth? I believe he is.
We're going to pop down to Bournemouth in March for a little card on the seaside that we love, the Bick Arena. But on the 7th of March, an amazing all-female card. We had Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price on talkSPORT together, where they, myself and Adam Catterall that night, we sat back and they just rowed live on air. What a fight that is, by the way. The Olympic champion against Natasha Jonas, who for me is the most decorated female British fighter of all time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Natasha Jonas, you know, she was the nearly girl, the one that we thought wasn't going to quite make it. She lost in the quarterfinals to Katie Taylor way back in 2012 now. Olympic quarterfinals, an incredible fight. Lost to her as a professional as well. And you think, is she going to come? Is she going to get the opportunity? Chris Namas comes a couple of weights above what she was boxing at.
Light middleweight.
Yeah, super welter, yeah. And she got that opportunity. She's become a pioneer for women's boxing. Huge opportunity for Lauren Price, undefeated as a professional. You know, she goes in as world champion now as well. And she's, you know, it's a great fight at the Royal Albert Hall, the place where I held my last fight as well. I think, you know, boxing, big time boxing being back there, it's not been back there much. I think they had... My fight was back in 1998.
Billy Joe Saunders has fought there.
I think they've had 3 shows there. 3 shows
so
there.
I've been at all 3 of them. There have been 3, you're right. They've been sporadic, but what makes this brilliant, I mean, I remember Lauren Price saying she went there to have a look at the Albert Hall for the first time. It's an extraordinary place of unique beauty and antiquity, with all the boxes and the curvature of the building. All the sound reverberates towards the ring that's special artificially squeezed and constructed into almost what is like a tiny bull ring, isn't it, or performance ring. It's an extraordinary place.
It really is. The acoustics in there are absolutely insane. So when you can imagine I think there's a 5,000 capacity there with all the boxes and the floor filled up. You know, they do a lot of concerts there and whatnot. So the sound system in there is quite incredible.
You've never been to the last of the proms then? Last night of the proms. You've not been?
No,
they have plenty of concerts.
Do you know
there.
what? I've only been to the Royal Albert Hall once and I don't remember it. That was my last fight.
Well, you don't remember it for very bad reasons, of course, and we celebrate you are still here.
Oh, I celebrate as well.
28 years on, and we are very, very, well, I don't know if it's, I might be aging you there a little bit, but 26 years on.
Thank you.
Isn't it? Yeah. You're not quite 50
Now it's your
yet.
turn for the maths, right?
On March the 15th, the following week. That's a Friday night fight, by the way, and an all-female card. Well done, Ben Shalom, Boxer and Sky, putting that together, because it does make it very special indeed with all the females fighting on the night. Nick Ball against TJ Doheny, the very popular Nick Ball, who had an extraordinary year last year. Sold out Liverpool on March the 15th. I think we're going with talkSPORT, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We're covering that one as well. Can't wait. I love Nick Ball. You know, he sort of like does it the tough way. He's exciting as well. Comes forward, Nick the wrecking ball, and it is what it is.
He's a pocket rocket.
Absolutely.
He's a little tank,
non-stop. And Doheny's a former world champion himself. Tough kid. It's a great fight.
Would you have beaten him or not?
You always ask
Would
me
you
that
have
question.
beaten Nick
Why
Ball
do you always ask me that question?
Because you always say I'd have beaten Manny Pacquiao, I'd have beaten.
I don't ever say that. You always ask me.
No, but would you have beaten Nick Ball?
I'll leave it to the public perception. Let's see what they say.
Right.
Nick Ball is a very good fighter.
Nick Ball believes he'd have knocked you out.
I like him as well. I think you've got a big ladle. You're the ladle man, aren't you? That's who you are.
Spooning you up, baby.
Spooning me up.
I'm living in your brain rent free. No,
listen,
the importance of this fight.
Yeah.
TJ Doheny lost to Naoya Inoue.
Yeah.
This is a good opponent to benchmark whether Nick Ball steps in against this brilliant Japanese fighter, who for me is the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. 4 weight divisions, 3 undisputed weight divisions, 26 knockouts in 29 fights, a modern monster master. He's called the Monster.
Yeah.
I think we get Nick Ball and Naoya Inoue at some point if he beats Doheny.
I think we get it this year. And we called that, actually.
We
at the
did for a long time. Yeah.
The New Year's wish list, we said Nick Ball, Naoya Inoue. A couple of people
What's
looked at me.
What's a wish list?
Wish
Okay,
list.
that's beautifully said.
Yeah.
Now
Sorry,
you're there. I'm starting to get at you now.
Sorry, mate,
I'm warming up.
You're just trying to start, aren't you? You're trying to start. I know where you're going, mate. I'm not biting tonight.
Well, all right.
I'm relaxed.
We'll dive over this one. Dillian Whyte and Joe Joyce, the big DAZN announcement cards. 4 heavyweight fights on that card. April the 5th, Manchester Co-op Live Arena again. Frank Warren's, I think it's his first card on DAZN. Obviously, he's joined DAZN, the whole Queensberry movement to DAZN with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom with Oscar De La Hoya makes DAZN very powerful as a boxing platform. But not only Joe Joyce and Dillian Whyte, we've got Richard Riakporhe and Lawrence Okoli at heavyweight. We've got Delicious Ori making his debut, and we've got David Adeleye coming back against Jamie TKV. 4 big heavyweight fights on the card. That is a thriller, my friend.
What a way to make your debut on DAZN. I mean, that's a fantastic card there, and yeah, really looking forward to this one. Again, it's all about opportunity, and these fights like Dillian Whyte versus Joe Joyce, you know, for the winner, puts himself back in the mix. For the loser, it's goodbye.
Before we break, there's 2 other cards that we must talk about that are upcoming as well. You were at the press conference for this week. The rematch between Ben Whitaker and Liam Cameron after they kind of WWE'd haystacks and Big Daddy'd over the ropes. The very loose ropes at the time, by the way, in Riyadh. When was that? Last December?
October, wasn't it?
Was it October?
Yeah.
Was it that long ago?
It was October, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, of course, it was on the undercard of Better Be Evan Bivol, the first one. The outcome of that was that Ben Whitaker, people were saying he quit, that Liam Cameron was beating him at the time. There was a lot said on social media. What did you make of them at the press conference this week? Because they'll fight in Birmingham on April the 20th.
I'm so glad that we're getting this fight again, because, you know, people are going to have their opinions on whether he quit, whether he didn't quit. Well, guess what? Only Ben Whitaker knows. And if he was genuinely injured, then he's going to go and right the wrongs, isn't he? He's going to get in there and he's going to do what he said he was going to do. He's highly talented, as the best prospect in this country. There are big things built of him. This was meant to be a stepping stone, a development fight against Liam Cameron, but Liam Cameron tore up the script. He started turning the tide there. We was there, weren't we? Turned around. After 2 rounds, we're going, hold on a minute. Cameron's getting into this. After 4 rounds, you're going, Ben Whitaker's starting to blow a little bit here. Then the controversy of them going over the ropes. Only Ben knows whether he was injured or not. But he's played it smart there at the press conference, by the way.
I thought it was very smart.
Played it very
smart indeed. And he took a back seat in a way.
Yeah.
And he's a brilliant character, and I cannot wait to see that fight. And it may be the making of him, and we've said this. Liam Cameron, who I was with interviewing ringside last week when we were together up in Manchester, I thought looked really well physically. You know, he hides behind that hat and the beard, and he's got that feel that life has hurt him, but he is sailing. He is full of life. It's incredible.
Well, do you know what? You go he got that 5-year ban, didn't he, for recreational drugs that were in his system. He said that he didn't do it.
Very cruel it was.
Very cruel. To get a 5-year ban for something like that was not performance enhancing. You know,
it was a very strong recreational drug.
Yeah, it was very, very. You know, and he still denies that. Anyway, he got the 5-year ban, but he got the opportunity. Cinderella man, I like him a lot. He's come back. He's built himself. Come back down from 20 stone he went up to. He's got himself in shape, and he's fought his way back into contention. Brilliant story.
Let's have a little listen to these guys. Ben Whitaker and Liam Cameron joined Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent on Drive this week. The surgeon, that's Ben Whitaker, was asked about the injury he suffered in the last fight and all that speculation that has been around it since.
I'm going to come here and say, oh, it was this, it was that. But I actually had to go down to the British Boxing Board. I had to do this, do that. I got rushed to the hospital. And it was actually a serious injury, to be fair. It came back, I had to do rehab, I had to do all the right things, but it's just part of the game, really. Bizarre outcome, and it's not the way I wanted to end it.
Why won't you tell us what the injuries are? Because there's a lot of people that have said maybe that you swallowed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine that the best thing to do is to come out and tell people exactly the extent of your injury. So what's the benefit in not telling us what happened?
Just the person I am. Like when I won the Olympic silver, I could have easily said, oh, it was my this, that, it was that. I could have posted the x-ray, but I didn't. It's not the person I am. When I had that big break after my second fight with an injury, I could have posted that and said it was this, it was that. And same with this, at the end of the day, nobody wants to hear it. They just want to see the fight again. And that's the person I am. I'm not going to be here and go, oh, it was this, it was that. Fair enough, it happened. It was very bizarre. But luckily enough, we get to run it back.
So is the injury completely clear now? You're 100% good to go?
Yeah, I feel very good. I'm in a great way, so I'm very happy, to be fair.
Fascinating interview there with Ben Whitaker, who I think has stood up to things. The other fight, we're going to go to break, but the other fight, the other event that is massive, April the 26th, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the Ring Magazine event, 35 years of bloodline hatred between the Bens and the Eubank, Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. We cannot wait for that one. Well done, Turki Al-Sheikh, for getting that fight over the line. Ring Magazine title maybe on the line in some form. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. Joining us now, Hall of Fame promoter, the man at the centre of massive things going on in boxing right now. He joins us from his home, I think. It's Frank Warren. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, young man. How are you? Good evening.
Very well indeed, thank you. So, Frank, first of all, because we got you a little late and we want to just dive into this, we've had Derek Chisora on in the week. Could Derek Chisora end up fighting Oleksandr Usyk?
Who knows? Maybe, but Usyk said he wants to, was it this week, he only wants to have 2 more fights, and one of them he wants to be unification, and next week in Riyadh, part of the Riyadh season show, Daniel Dubois defending his IBF title against Joe Parker. So the winner of that, I think, will wind up fighting him for that unification.
I think that's the right thing as well. Spencer and I do agree on that, and it seems to be the right thing. I'm sure you'll find the right opponent for Derek going forward. Frank, February 22nd, a week from now, they're talking about this as the greatest card ever. We've walked and talked our way through it already on the show. Can you remember, I mean, you've been around 50 years in the sport, can you remember a better card than this?
No, it's a magnificent card. I mean, I'll go back to the sort of heydays of maybe the 80s, late 70s, 80s, 90s cards there. I remember when Baron McGuigan fought Steve Cruz, Roberto Duran, he actually got beat by Hagler's brother, Robbie Sims. He beat him on a card. Tommy Hearns fought Mark McDowell on there, so there was 3 title fights. Buster Douglas, when he beat Tony Tucker, Mike Tyson beat Pinkton Thomas on a card. I'm just trying to think. I remember the year in, because I can go back this far, 84. The 6 American Olympic gold medalists had a night of champions at the Madison Square Gardens, but they were debut fights.
How about this one, Frank? I've pulled one up earlier. February the 23rd, 1981, a Monday, Madison Square Garden. Jerry Cooney, Ken Norton, Matthew Sad Muhammad and Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Thomas Hearns and Wilfred Benitez, Wilfredo Gomez and Mike Ayala, and Hill McKenty and Alexis Agelio. That's not a bad card, is it?
No, bloody hell, that tells you something.
That's incredible, isn't it? Monday night in New York.
Bloody hell. I remember another one was when Hearns fought John McGarvey. Sorry, no, he fought Schuler, and who was it? Who fought John McGarvey? I think it may have been... Oh, who was that? I can't think. I think Hearns fought Schuler, McGarvey had a title fight, and Sandoval and Canales. That was another one, but you know,
McGarvey versus Hagler, was it? Is it that one?
Yeah, Hagler and Hearns are on the same card.
That's right. Yeah,
that one back then. Bloody hell, Monday night.
But Frank, I mean, you know, in the modern era, we're looking at this card and we are talking about all-time fights, because when you look at it and you go Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith, you know, for the WBO interim light heavyweight world title is down at the bottom of the card, and you've got Zele Zangagic, Cabiel, Virgil Ortiz and Carlos Adames, Hamza Shiraz, Shakur Stevenson, Daniel Dubois, Artur Beterbiev. I mean, the names. Frank, I've done some stats, right, because I was looking at the card and I've done some stats. Out of all these fights, they had 333 fights, this card, and 321 wins with 2 draws, 12 losses. The whole card.
It's unbelievable.
That's insane.
It's just a quality card, isn't it? I mean, it's a magnificent show. And as you say, look at the guys on there. They are winning fighters, absolutely winning fighters. And they're all evenly matched. They're all evenly matched fights.
Absolutely. Frank, before we go to the news, I need to ask you as well about this massive array of heavyweight fights and cards you've put together with DAZN. That's spectacular as well and very special. And I think you said to me, I think it was off air last week, you can't remember putting a schedule this strong together this early in the year.
No, not at all. We got some more to announce. We're announcing Fabio Wardley. He'll be fighting.
Who's he fighting, Frank? Come on, tell us. Go on.
I'll tell you when the press conference on. We got Moses Ichiyama. Moses will be fighting in quite a big fight. All of them are out. We've got all the guys fighting, so it's exciting times, and certainly in the heavyweight division. But we're strong in other divisions as well. We've got some really good fights coming up.
Can I ask you, with three very big promoters on the same platform together, does that help the fact you won't be at loggerheads with each other and everything will be staged with yourself, Hearn and De La Hoya all on the same platform?
Well, I think it'll make it easier to make fights. It's great for the fans because they only got to pay one subscription. So it's brilliant for the boxing fans, that's for sure. No, I mean, we will obviously carry on. There'll be no clashing of dates for obvious reasons because of, you know, I mean, I was asked a couple of stupid questions about that in a week. What happens if there's a show on both got shows on the same night? And I said, why on earth would a TV company put two different shows up, two different promoters on one night? It's never going to happen. Don't be so ridiculous.
They might do it with Los Angeles and London, though, or Los Angeles and Riyadh, so we have a day of boxing. That might happen as well.
That may happen. I mean, you know, for direct clashing, that's definitely not going to happen.
Frank, we appreciate you taking time out tonight to speak to us. Travel well, safe travels to Riyadh, and we shall see you there. Thank you very much.
You too. All the best, fellas.
Cheers, Frank.
That was Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. You're listening to, or even maybe watching on the YouTube channel, Fight Night with me, Gareth Davies, and Spencer Oliver on talkSPORT.
Arsenal have come so close the past couple of seasons, but it looks like injury could delay their long wait for a title. So off the back of the devastating injury news about Kai Havertz, how does Mikel Arteta feel?
Big pain in the tummy.
They have had some bad luck with injuries, but are Arsenal fans in danger of becoming a little bit Spursy?
The injuries that we've had to obviously Bukayo Saka, who's like one of the main players. Then you look at Odegaard was out for a while. Obviously Havertz got his hamstring injury, and the squad.
Sorry, is it Perry or is it Ange? I can't work out who's in here. Whoa. Sorry.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just telling you the facts, mate. That's what we do, mate.
Regardless, Troy Deeney's got no sympathy about their lack of a striker because surely they've known for ages that they clearly need one.
We keep talking about January. This issue has been going on for 18 months now, so they could have done it in the summer. So could have got an Ivan Toney and the like. Yes, there was a few bits around it, but if you were really serious, we all know, very good goalkeeper, solid back four, an excellent back four, midfield is excellent, wide players are really good. It's just that one key piece, isn't it, to get them over the line.
We'll find out how they fare without Havertz in the early kick-off tomorrow against Leicester, which is live on talkSPORT. Another striker out for a lengthy period is Nicholas Jackson. He'll miss Chelsea's second clash with Brighton this week, but former Chelsea midfielder Steve Sidwell reckons it's a good opportunity for other players to step up.
Your Sanchos, your Maduekes and Nkunku probably you could say has been a bit unfair with the run of games that he has, but he's got a chance now of possibly getting a string of games of together now.
That one's live here on talkSPORT this evening. Sticking on the subject of strikers, it's Haaland versus Isak tomorrow, and Eddie Howe was asked if this is the battle of Europe's best strikers.
Yeah, certainly. I think when you look at Haaland's consistency over a long period of time, there's no doubting that, and Alex is certainly doing the same. We're looking to try and get him in the game as much as we can. We need to provide the foundation for him to perform at his best levels.
And on Sunday, Liverpool take on Wolves. Arne Slot spoken for the first time since his post-match red card during those chaotic scenes at Goodison.
The emotions got the better of me, and if I could do that differently, if I look back at it, I would love to do it differently.
You can listen to all the Sunday goals as they go in on the Sunday session, live here on talkSPORT.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth, Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen, Oliver. In this hour, we're going to talk Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza. They're already in the fourth round up in the Co-op Live in Manchester. No fog and snow in the arena. They're going for it, and Catterall has looked very, very good so far. Coming up on this hour, we'll talk Alcatraz, a word you may have never have thought you'd hear on Fight Night and talkSPORT, but Teo Lopez may be fighting there. We are going to talk about potential weird and bizarre venues we've been at and that we could possibly have in the future. And cruiserweight Alois Jr. joins us in studio. I've just seen him come into the green room for half an hour of chat. He's number 2 in the Brazilinator, the punch bag, by the way. And apparently, who's bigger than him? Pat Brown at the moment. He's got more than him. Pat Brown, the heavyweight.
Pat Brown whacked it, man, but I've seen Alois hit that, trust me.
But Alois is going to break that record before he gets in the studio, apparently. We've got something to tease him. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. So they're in round 4. They're in round 4 up in the Co-op Live. Let's chat about the fight's ongoing. It's on DAZN, but this is a great fight for Jack Catterall. 30 wins, 1 defeat in his career, but we know he hasn't really lost because he won that fight against Josh Taylor. He's avenged defeat. He's beaten Regis Prograis. This is the fight against undefeated Arnold Barboza, an orthodox stance fighter who's getting popped, by the way, by a lot of left hands from Jack Catterall. He's getting the left-right through quite a lot, Spencer. I've got it here on the monitor. I know you're not able to see the fight at the moment. I've got it on my monitor. This is a massive fight for Jack Catterall because it projects him towards a fight with someone like Teofimo Lopez.
Absolutely, and he deserves that. You know, he should have been undisputed super lightweight world champion against Josh Taylor. He was very, very unlucky not to get the decision. He reversed that one, as you rightly say. Regis Prograis last time out, he put in a brilliant performance. Doing well here as well against Arnold Barboza, who's in form himself, 31 unbeaten, coming off a win against Jose Carlos Ramirez, a good fighter. People will remember him boxing Josh Taylor before. Really tough guy.
Anthony Crawler, the former world lightweight champion's brother William Crawler, won earlier against Ayub Zakari, TKO in the 6th round. Pat McCormack, very promising fighter being trained by Ben Davison, is now 6-0 after retiring. Not retiring from the sport, but retiring in the fight. He was down 3rd round and once in the 5th, Robbie Davis Jr. A win for Pat McCormack, who's very promising. Zelfa Barrett lost on points in a 10-rounder, I think it was, to James Dickens, who's often been underrated in his career. Reece Bellotti dominated Michael Gomez Jr. and Bellotti was cut over the right eye in the 6th, but Gomez Jr. was down once in the 5th and once in the 8th. Look, we're even monitoring this while we're doing a live show, and right now they're in the 5th round, Catterall and Barboza. Catterall, for me, will win this on points.
Yep, totally agree with you. Catterall is a brilliant fighter, and I think he should be world champion, as I say, and he should be in the mix with those big names. He's proven at that level.
That 140-pound division, the 10-stone division, the division that Ricky Hatton was very good in, that Amir Khan was very good in, that we have a history of great boxers in, that Josh Taylor was undisputed champion in. This is a massive fight. And who will be watching? Adam Azim and Dalton Smith. And I see Dalton Smith, by the way, our prospects, our up-and-comers in that division. I call him a prospect. He's getting a world title shot, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But listen...
Dalton, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, they're chasing the pack, if I'm totally honest. You know, they're the young guys that are coming through and still learning, still developing. Catterall just a little bit above that. You're talking about Teofimo Lopez, all those guys in that division. You know, you got big names there. Huge fights out there.
What I love about Catterall, and I'm watching it now, and you know everything about boxing technically, and obviously I've watched it for many decades now, but what I love about Jack Catterall, when you try and describe his style, he doesn't have one, but he has a fantastic shell, and he has so much control from the mid-range to inside fighting, and he's so clever at it. He sways from the waist, he moves very cleverly, he's so efficient, Spencer, and I don't think we've celebrated him enough.
His judgment of distance is key to what it is, because that keeps his timing, the timing gives the speed creates the power and the fluidity around his work. There's a real rhythm about his work. He never sort of break. He's like a buzzing bee. He's an annoying bee, won't go away.
He ties up very well.
He's very good on the inside. Look, he's good at long range, mid-range, short range. He's got it all. You know, you look at this guy and he's very difficult to beat, as we've seen in the past.
And what he's got the advantage of against Barboza is Barboza isn't a big puncher. He's undefeated, but he's got like a 20% knockout ratio on his record.
Yeah, Barboza's one of those guys that just got a good work rate. He plugs away. He's got good movement, uses the angles very well. But I just think Jack Catterall is better in all departments.
He looks big in there tonight as well, Jack. He cuts weight very well. They're very smart, Jamie Moore, Nigel Travers and the team. They're very old school scientists with the sweet science, aren't they?
Absolutely. Been around a long time. Jamie Moore was a great fighter himself, British Commonwealth, European champion. Nigel Travis, a guy I used to box with back in the amateurs at the Fitzroy Lodge many years ago, you know, and Kelvin Travis, his dad was actually one of the England coaches when I was on the team boxing for England. So they've got a lot of history as well. It's a great team up there, and, you know, real family unit, and I think that's important for a boxer as well. Jack Catterall was fitted in there so well.
As they go back after the 5th round, I've had it on the monitor, Jack looks like he's won the last 2. You know, he's in his corner now, and they're just very calm in there. Jamie Moore speaking to him. Earlier on the card, Reece Bellotti, who's always in exciting fights, he's lost 5 of 22. Got revenge, or not revenge, but he got a victory over Michael Gomez Jr. Gomez Jr. was ill on 24 hours notice from the fight when Jack Catterall fought Regis Prograis back in October. But what I love about Reece Bellotti, he takes his electrical gear with him in his van, and he works on the lighting sets on movies when he's not boxing. James Bond movies, the old Harry Potter movies. What a fascinating life. And he says, I don't tell anyone when I'm doing that, when I walk in the set with a black eye or bruises or limping, what I actually do. It's fascinating.
He really is. He's an old school character, actually. Really, really good guy. I mean, he was frustrated that the fight didn't happen before. It was meant to happen, I think it was at the York Hall, actually. They were meant to box, and it was Gomez Jr. that pulled out. He in the dressing room before they walked out. It was actually...
No, it was on the undercard of Catterall and Prograis.
Oh, yeah, undercard of Catterall and Prograis. Yeah, last October, but he pulled out in the dressing room.
The expletives that came out of that, they let him on DAZN that night. Because I remember saying to Adi Oladipo, who gave him the mic, or not handed him the mic, but put the mic in front of him, he would not stop swearing about it. He was so incensed. What does that feel like as a boxer when someone doesn't pull out at the 11th hour, but the 11th hour and a half?
Well, he pulls out the 11th minute, if you like. It was just before the ring walks. And you know, you can imagine, this kid's put his heart and soul into it. He's got a family to feed. He doesn't get paid. You know, you can imagine the frustrations. He's just about to go out there. You got the whip coming in saying to you, right, lad, we've got 5 minutes to go. The adrenaline's pumping. You're ready to go. All of a sudden they come in and say, hold a minute, he's just pulled out. He's got sick in the dressing room. So for Bellotti, as you can understand, he was so frustrated. He wanted to get this fight on. There was a real build-up with these two. You know, Gomez Jr. and him were going back and forth, social media, didn't like each other at all, but they finally got it on. And Bellotti, what a fighter, you know, what a great fighter.
Indeed. Well, we've got a little win for you if you want it. 25,000 SMS premium competition. 2025... I'll start that again. 2025 marks 25 years of talkSPORT, and to celebrate, we are giving you, our loyal listeners, the chance to win 25 big ones. That's right, £25,000 completely tax-free. Well, all you have to do to get involved is text the word cash to 83338, or you can enter by post. Once again, for a chance to get your hands on that £25,000, text the word cash to 83338 or enter by post. Good luck.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. Enter by SMS for £2 plus one standard network charge by 11 p.m. on March the 3rd, 2025. Or send your name, email and contact number to £25,000 cash competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on March the 6th, 2025. This is a news broadcasting network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. Back to you in the studio.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth, Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen, Oliver. They are in the 7th round, coming towards the end of the 7th round between Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza. Referee Steve Gray's just separated them up at the Co-op Live in Manchester. To me, Catterall looks like he is swimming away with this contest, but who knows what happens in boxing. Well, we're going to have an absolute feast for you in the next half an hour. You can see him on the screen there. This man, I want to say it's a pleasure to be joined in the studio by the animal right now. Have a listen to this.
Oh, what a shot from Alois Jr. The paramedics coming in just to make sure everything's okay. That was a tremendous shot from Alois Jr. And he's got some real power.
So, Alois, the animal Jr. from Penge. How are you?
I'm great. It's an absolute pleasure to be here again, and I'm here to break that record. Honestly,
Right, hang on. Let's talk about this then. So you were the excoriatingly brilliant number 1 at 9 on the Brazilianator on the punch bag. 9.
I don't know. I don't remember.
982 or something, or 68 or
something like that.
But Pat Brown, who's just about to make his debut as a heavyweight.
I think so, yeah.
Signed by Eddie Hearn, came in here and beat your record. When did you hear about this?
I heard about this in somewhere in the mountains while I was training, like Rocky, and I found out someone broke the record, and I was shocked. And
Were you hurt?
I'm quite hurt, because I'm in my mind I'm always number 1. So when someone tries to destroy that, I got to destroy that.
I saw you go from green room just now to the Brazilianator. I heard it getting smacked really hard. Spencer ran out then, said you need to blow up the ball. Did you do it?
No, we didn't do it yet, but we're getting there. Don't worry.
That is the key, mate, because that's the theory, right? Where that ball's been punched so much, because everyone that comes in here punches the ball, they all want to break the record, and we get some heavy hitters in here as well, like yourself, and I've seen you, right? I'm watching through the window, and I can see that machine shaking, and I'm going to Gareth, this kid needs to blow up the ball, because if you pump the ball up, it will go up higher.
Well, listen, look. Once I get my man strength, right, then I can start punching.
Mate, you say that because you're only 21. Harjot, who's producing us tonight, just give me the numbers in my ear on the 982.
So it was 988 today.
It was 988 today.
Today. So I'm just one.
Pat Brown's 989, is he?
Exactly.
Okay, so you've gone up from 982 to 988 without the ball being blown up.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what you're saying. So look, a very important aspect to you coming in here. You came in here before. Let's talk about your life now and your boxing career. You're still only 21.
Thankfully.
You are one of the biggest punchers anyone's ever seen in the cruiserweight division. Boxing has changed your life. Last time out, you destroyed Lewis Oakford, winning by TKO. You're 9-1-0. But you lost your first bout on points, didn't you? It's kind of fascinating that. What happened?
What a fight, honestly.
It was an incredible fight. And I'll tell you what happened. It was an ambitious debut. That's what happened. He went in there and you normally get the run of the mill. You got a guy that's 110, lost 30 or whatever it is. Just an introduction into the game.
There's none of that.
You didn't have that?
No.
Ambitious.
Absolutely ambitious. Again, I've always loved the greatest men, like for me, the greatest men of all time, like the Alexanders, the Napoleons, the Genghis Khans, the guys with immense ambition, and I've always resonated with that energy.
Genghis Khan fathered 2, 3, 4, 5,000 children, didn't he?
The man.
No bounds.
No.
You feel even though you're only 10 fights into your career with 8 knockouts from 9 wins, that you are destined to be a world champion.
Absolutely. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Like when I wake up, I know that I'm gonna brush my teeth and I'm gonna be a world champion.
Do you watch people like Jai Opataya, who is the number 1 in your division right now? If you got the call, do you just go?
I'm on it. I'm
Boots
on
3 a.m.
But I'll tell you this. Now. I'm on it. I love to fight. Put me in there now. You can feel this energy. But I have a team for a reason. That's why I went in 24-hour notice against a prospect. You know, like, as time goes on, you understand that it's not just about fighting. It's about, like, making the right fights at the right times. And we're getting there.
It's all about development, and with you, you know, you're one of those guys. Anyone that's not seen Alois, trust me, go on YouTube, take a look at him. Right, very exciting. Reminds me a little bit of Mike Tyson. Comes out there, no playing around, no feeling out process. You go in there, and it's the hurt game, and you go in there to hurt them. That's what you do. But what you're getting now, and what I've noticed over your last few fights, and I was at the Oakford fight as well, and I see that you're starting now to take your time and wait for the opportunity instead of just going out there and throwing the big bombs and just hoping that you knock him out. You're now understanding the game. You go, this is a 12-round fight, and you're going to get these guys that can take the shots.
Absolutely.
Are going to take you to rounds, and you don't want to blow a gasket, and then all of a sudden, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And that's what I've noticed with you. I think you're improving all the time, and that's a big step forward.
So skills really important as well as the power. That's what Spencer's really saying. Learning those fundamentals and finessing them.
Absolutely. I love the term finessing them. But I can't take all the credit. I give the credit to my coaches. My coaches are like geniuses.
Tell us about them. Tell us their names.
Lee Wiley, Barry Smith. These guys are exceptional at their job. I care about them a lot. I love these lot like family. They invest so much into me, and it's my duty to fulfill the I don't know what the words for it. To fulfill
the potential.
The potential.
So in that gym, the Ben Davison Performance Centre in Harlow, that's very renowned. You've got Anthony Joshua in there. You've got Fabio Wardley in there. You've got, I think you've got a young Moses Tauma in there. So do you go on a different day? Do you go and want to spar with these guys? Do you spar with these guys? Because you've obviously got something. You might be at heavyweight one day. I mean, you're a very young man. You're not the tallest, but you've got that build. You've got that powerful upper body. Do you spar with them? Is there? Talk us through what happens in that gym with all these guys you're rubbing shoulders with.
It varies. So, like, Vince, we may do some technical sparring, but Ben tries to keep it like a family-orientated gym. Like, he doesn't want the guys to be going to war because he knows how I get down. I go to war with everyone. I'm sorry.
So it's on or off. As simple as that.
So, like, I can't put into words.
Success breeds success, right? And you go in there and you're all like a family unit. I understand the whole gym thing. And you go like, I was when I was a young pro, and you're going in there and you got world champions like a kid called Alfred Cote, who was world bantamweight champion at the time. And I learned from him, but he guided me through, because you're at different levels, different stages. And that family unit creates champions, and that's what it is. It's all about timing, and they all feed off each other, you know?
Absolutely. We got people like Lee Wood, we got Shabazz, Masood, again, Anthony Joshua's, and etc. Like, we have like fighters, established fighters, world champions in our gym.
But what I'm asking is, do you go and move around with those guys in the ring? Because I'm fascinated by that.
They learn from each other.
Yes. Felt like that. We don't swing at each other.
No, that's what I want to know. How enjoyable is that, knowing that these guys have been at the absolute pinnacle of the sport already, and Moses is on the way up there by the look of it as well, and what you just feel when you're in there with them, how much you get from it.
Oh, I get so much from it. It's like, I see someone working, and I'm not going to let them outwork me. And we go at it, and we just grow from each other and learn from each other.
Do you know what it is, Alois, as well? Do you find that it's like, it's power of the mind, because it's boxing is, which people don't understand, is psychological. The psychological part of the game is like 80%. The physical side is 20%, because we can all get ourselves in shape, whatever. But you're feeding off all these other fighters, and you've got the great champions in there and the young prospects like yourself coming up. You feed off them, you learn from them, but that gives you that mental strength where you go, it gives you that inner confidence that you need as a fighter, that self-belief. You go, well, Anthony Joshua's there. He's been a world champion, unified world champion. You go, Moses Tauma, everyone's talking about your wrap-round success.
Yeah, explain it. Explain that deeper sense of what you're experiencing, because I think that's what our listeners or our viewers would like to hear about. I'm not asking for gym stories. I'm not asking for revelation. I'm asking for what it feels like, as Spencer says, to be in a gym of champions, and what that bestows upon you, what cloak that gives.
What
you.
energy you get from that?
You get some super real energy. It's like, let's say Fabio Wardy knocks out Fraser Clark, the gym's electric. When someone wins, it's electric, and it keeps you at a standard where you gotta perform. You gotta keep this momentum going for the team, and I don't, man.
Do you have hard days there? Do you have hard days there as well?
Of course, everyone has hard days. This is work.
Yeah.
Sometimes sparring doesn't go your way. Sometimes when you're doing technical drills, you're not the sharpest, but that makes you the person, or that makes you the champion that you will be one day.
Alois, you just said it there. It's the competitive edge that gives you the edge. Now, what I'm saying is because you're competing against all these guys, because you want to be the man, you want to be the number one, you want to be the one that they're all talking about, and because you're being competitive like that, that brings you on and moves you on fire. If you was the main kid in the gym, then you're not really like, if you got other people breathing down your neck, there's something to compete
You're
against.
really not the main guy in the gym. You are one of the juniors.
And I want to be the main one.
There you go. That's what we're talking about.
Fantastic stuff. We're going to come back to that in a minute. They're in the 10th round of 12 in Catterall, Barboza Jr. at the Co-op Live in Manchester. We will bring you that result when we speak to Alois in the next section. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Spencer the Omen, Oliver, my wingman tonight. In the studio with us now is the animal, Alois Jr. Alois, cruiserweight. You're looking at your 10th fight coming up, or is it 11th? 11th fight. You can tell us when it is. It's not fully out there, but you're going to be fighting on the undercard of Josh Taylor and Echo Esserman, one of the early DAZN Queensberry cards. You're promoted by Frank Warren, of course. Who are you fighting?
I'm fighting David Jameson. He's a tough, I would say contender. Tough contender. He's durable. He's been in the ring with guys like Michaela Mayer, Chevon Clark, and the man likes to fight. And everyone knows how I get down. I really like to fight. And if I catch him, he's night-night.
You and Chev Clark's going to be a bit of a banger, isn't it, when that happens?
This is stylistically, mate, it absolutely will. But going into Jameson's backyard, you like all that as well, don't
Absolutely. You? It's a new experience, and I know he is going to be ready. Like, this is like a make or break for him as well in terms of career-wise. So he's going to be training. I can vision him training incredibly hard, and I need to be on my A game because, listen, like life could be like Rocky sometimes. He could be in his last leg and he could try to pull an upset, and I'm not letting that happen.
Do you know what I like about it these days? The era that we're in now is the promoters are not protecting their fighters anymore. They're not protecting the young prospects and giving them, you know, these fights. You actually have to sort of prove yourself now, going in against these tough guys, you know, going into the other guy's backyard. You know, years ago, that wouldn't have happened with a prospect like yourself. So, you know, testament to you, him, and the promoters.
Absolutely. I don't need no cushions. I don't need no stabilizers. If you can fight, you can fight. And Fight Night shows itself. Like, the ring, I see it like this. The ring is the moment of truth. And if you've been doing what you've been doing, like if you've been working hard and staying dedicated, then the moment of truth will be a great experience for you.
The cruiserweight division, look at what Oleksandr Usyk's done, stepping up from being unified or undisputed champion there to heavyweight and being the number one. David Haye stepped up to heavyweight. Evander Holyfield. Do you, Jaya Pattaya, we expect him to step up. Do you look at the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division as two divisions that you will fight in both?
Absolutely. I there's no doubt in my mind with that. I'm only 21 years old, and as time goes on, I'm going to mature into it, and I'm going to get my man strength.
So, I've got to ask you this question. It's not for gym stories, but Mo Zitama's over there in that corner, in the same gym as you, in Harlow. You know, in your mind, I'd be thinking like this: I'm going to fight you for the world heavyweight title one day. I will be fighting you for that title, and I will take it off you. Surely you must think like that.
I don't try to compete with my...
In the deep parts of your mind.
Again, look, I don't try to compete with my brothers in training. I just see them as... I want them to be the best at them, and if we ever meet in the future, then that occurs. But me personally, I don't look at it like that.
Because you're not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think when the fighters are in the same stable like that, you know that look, there's a potential, there's a possibility, and that then comes down to business, and you put the friendship aside and you get in there and you earn each other a lot of money. But I think at this stage of your career, you're thinking about yourself, you focus, you're in a different weight division, and if that fight materialises, then so be it. But I get what you're saying now.
Do you have to wait, say, another 7 or 8 fights before you fight for a world title? When do you envisage that you will fight for a world title for the first time? Richard Riakpor's left the division. Lawrence Okoli's gone up to heavyweight. What? Go on.
I said, as a Karen speaking to me. Karen describing it.
Jaya Pattaya, I think, will leave the cruiserweight division. There are opportunities to fill the gaps that will be left. How long are you prepared to wait?
That's a good question. I couldn't even give that to you right now. At this moment in time, I'm just building, and we don't know. That's the thing. We can't plan out life. Like, I could say next year, I could say 2 years, I could say 3 years. Listen, if the right fight happens and they give me someone like Badu Jack, I might take it, because that man used to compete at, I think, middleweight, super middleweight.
Super middle.
That's what I'm saying.
Beat George Groves at super middle in Vegas. And was a very, very fine 12-stone fighter.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, listen, you used to compete at middleweight. Me, I'm a natural cruiserweight. You know, walk around at a heavyweight. So if I catch you with these shots, it's going to be rattling.
For people who are listening tonight and don't know you, or are watching on our YouTube channel and don't know you, talk to us about the junior Alois Junior. How did you find boxing? Did it change your life? Were you going down the wrong tracks? Is it something that guided you in the right direction?
Yeah,
talk to us about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. As a kid, like I used to be out on the streets selling some drugs, jumping over people's gates, stealing bikes, doing all sorts of stuff.
Why? Why did you find yourself there? Was it cool at the time?
Absolutely. It was a thrill. It was exhilarating. I loved to fight, and me and my friends would literally fight.
Street guy.
Absolutely.
Adrenaline buzz.
Literally. Like me and my friends will fight in the park just for the banter of it. Swinging hands at each other. But
this is in Penge, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I started to pursue boxing, and I started to love boxing, and I just started to dedicate my life to boxing, and I'm here now.
Are you transformed as a person when you look back on? Do you speak to others, younger people you know who are in that area? Do they follow you? Have you transformed other people through what you've done?
Absolutely. Like I'm like a role model from where I'm from. 21 years old, winning 3 titles from last year. Like that's something. Especially where I'm from, you don't really see that often. So, if I can help someone's life and if I can be a blessing to someone, I'm grateful for that. If I can help one person, that's great.
So important, Spencer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Boxing is a bigger thing than just a sport, isn't it?
Boxing gives fighters hope. That's one thing. Most kids come from sort of deprived areas or backgrounds like yourself, and it gives fighters hope. But more importantly, what you get from boxing is it teaches them the life skills.
Absolutely.
You know, the simple life skills that get you on in life, whether you achieve anything as a boxer or not. You know, it gives you that focus, that discipline, and that direction. That's what boxing teaches kids. So don't think that you've just got to be a champion to get those out of it. To get the life skills that you need, the discipline, getting up in the morning, you know, being somewhere on time, saying thank you, saying please, all of that stuff comes in the boxing gyms, and you know that better than anyone.
Absolutely. I trained in I think one of my earliest memories of like training is training in the Fitzroy Lodge with Mark Rygay and Grant. They gave me all sorts of lessons, life lessons. They're like father figures to me. Like, come home, make sure you come into the gym, make sure you clean like your area, make sure you're on time, make sure you're again never late, make sure you're never skipping training. That like not only that, they would like check up on you. They'll see are you eating, like, are you eating right? Is everything okay? Is your safety okay? And you got to give your appreciation to these amateur coaches, because they do this for free.
They do, and there's thousands and thousands. You know, you grew up in it, Spencer. Thousands and thousands around the country. Let me reiterate this. There are things ongoing with MPs in the House of Commons right now where we are fighting for funding from central government for these kind of clubs that change thousands and thousands of lives year on year on year for nothing. Those people give up 50, 60 years of their lives, and they should be thanked for that.
Absolutely.
Deeply.
It's voluntary, you know, it's the grassroots, and it puts all these kids, and a lot of them don't even become boxers, but it teaches them the respect, and it gives them the discipline. They go and get themselves good jobs, and they get themselves off the streets, and that is the important thing. You walk into a boxing gym, Gareth, and you're 5 minutes late, guess what happens?
Oh my
You send you home, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
See you later.
Yeah.
And if you come again tomorrow and you're 5 minutes late, guess what happens? Go away, mate, but don't come back this time. Like, that is the strict thing that happens in boxing gyms. So when you get there, you know, like, you come back tomorrow, but you're 5 minutes early. And I think that is the importance of a life skill.
Tell us about peers, your friends. Have they changed their lives? I mean, you're still incredibly young, and you were doing this probably 15, 16, running around out there being a wild man. You're still a wild man. But
look at his face. Anyone that's watching
that punch bag's going to get some wild man when you leave the studio in a minute as well. Tell us how you've been able to influence your friends as well, because I'm sure they all come and watch you box. So are you a group that have started boxing together, or are you the only one? Have you all... I mean, there's going to be a group of you in your early 20s. Some may be fathers already, some may be mothers already, then if there's women. Tell us about your group.
So I would say, like, personally, I have, like, people around me. They do all sorts of things. Some people, bus drivers, some people still on the streets, all sorts of people. But all I can do is just, like, help them in, like, trying to put this in simple words, instill discipline into them. So give them some sort of structure, whether I help them from a nutritional perspective. Like, that's what I'll do, or try to get them to be fitter or better people.
It's been brilliant to have you in the studio tonight. We've got to say goodbye to you. Now, by the way, in Manchester, Arnold Barboza Jr. has won on points against Jack Catterall. They're very disappointed in the Catterall corner. We'll discuss it after the break. Alois, I think it's the second time you've been in with me, certainly. It's always fantastic to have you in the studio. You have an amazing energy.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I think you've got that feel. Spencer and I have an eye for people like you. You just look destined to be a world champion to me, because your whole being is dedicated to this sport now, and you're on a journey, and we will want to be on this journey all the way with you.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what it is, but you've got an aura around you. When someone's got an aura around you, and you don't know what that aura is, and you don't want to know what it is, it's champion.
I appreciate it.
Well, Alois Jr., thank you very much for joining us. After the break, we will look back at Arnold Barboza winning against Jack Catterall. You're listening to and watching, maybe even Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm not sure about that tune for my Fight Night show. That's a little bit swanky. Spencer, good evening. Can you put your headphones on? Thank you very much. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Spencer the Oban Oliver. Nice to have your attention.
I was looking at the scores of Jack Catterall.
It's very
I was
interesting.
that intrigued.
Before we bring in Scott Murray, who is promoting an event in Kazakhstan, I think, one of our small hall promoters, but a brilliant man. We're going to bring him in a minute. Arnold Barboza taking a split decision. We weren't able to watch the fight properly. We had Alois, who was compelling in here, Alois Jr., who's now smashing the Brazilinator out there. I can hear it being thumped as he tries to beat the records. Arnold Barboza taking a split decision victory over Jack Catterall. In my glances, it looked like Catterall was just shading the rounds, but 115, 115, 115, 113, 113, 115, split decision for Arnold Barboza. It
went
draw.
No, it wasn't. It went 115, 113 twice.
Yeah, but it's written wrong on my screen here.
Yeah.
So if it's a split decision,
that's why I was watching it.
That's a one-round differential, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it.
Absolutely.
So a very, very close fight.
Well,
Barboza. But a one-round differential and in winning it, a split. Yeah. So he went down on his knees, he kissed the canvas, so delighted. It's a massive victory for Barboza, massive disappointment in the eyes of Sam Jones. I saw him there, the manager of Jack Catterall. His first proper defeat in many ways. Well, listen, and now he doesn't go on to a world title.
Well, listen, there was a controversy over a knockdown. So Jack Catterall caught him with a straight left hand to the body. He went down Barboza. The referee ruled it not a knockdown. And that's the controversy between winning and losing this contest. It could have been a draw, or at least a draw if that was scored a knockdown and he won the round. So, yeah, he may have won the contest. So
he's not the luckiest man in the world, Jack Catterall. I do feel for him in a big way. Listen, we're going to get Scott Murray on the phone in a second, but Teo Lopez, suggested by Turki Al-Sheikh, he wants to do an event at Alcatraz. Now, I spent a lot of time in San Francisco at one time.
I thought you were going to say Alcatraz.
In Alcatraz. No, they didn't lock me away there. I've swum away to victory. It's an island, obviously, in the middle of the water in San Francisco, there on the ocean, in the bay rather than on the ocean. If they do a fight event there, it would be amazing. I've covered a fight in a circus tent before in Verona when Layla Ali and Jackie Frazier lied for Ali Frazier 4 with their old men there back in June 2001, I think it was. There was talk about Tyson Fury fighting on a super yacht in the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko 9 years ago. The best one I think I've ever done is live outside on a golf course on Yas Island. It was like a James Bond kind of Dr. No set. Have you had some weird venues where you've covered boxing, or venues that you've thought of even?
Well, do you know what? Funny, last year actually in Paris, Roland Garros, they done the Olympic finals there, and that was fantastic. They actually had the roof on then and the centre court, and it was just something. It was spectacular. It was like it was purpose built for boxing actually, but that one really caught my eye. It was fantastic.
During lockdown, Matchroom Square Garden was a good one. They're talking about doing under the Eiffel Tower. Maybe Stonehenge would be a great place to do it. There's loads of different places. Scott Murray joins us. Scott, good evening. How are you?
Hi guys, good, thanks.
Very good. Now, could you think of a mega bizarre weird venue to stage a boxing match?
You wouldn't get better than Alcatraz, would you? That's pretty spectacular. Or you could go to Kazakhstan and do something as crazy as we're doing in Astana.
Tell us about it then, Scott. You've come on to tell us about that tonight. And potentially, I read in Boxing News that Gennady Golovkin could even attend that event, or maybe even box on the card.
So, yeah, Golovkin's going to be an ambassador for the show. He'll be there for the press conference and on the show night itself. And who knows, he's not officially retired. Who knows, he could come back. This is the first time, by the way, that a Kazakh world champion has defended his title on his home territory. So you've never seen that before. Golovkin didn't do it.
Why is that, Scott? Why is that?
Well, I think they were enticed by money in the States, and that's certainly been a factor. We've had the opportunity of doing something over there now. We're working on it for almost a year, but yeah, I think it's just all about the money.
Scott, Tell us a little bit about how this has come about, because, I mean, we're seeing boxing coming up now in all these territories that were never boxing related before. Turkey Al-Sheikh, Riyadh season, Saudi Arabia were really to do with that. And I think that what people thought, or these countries felt, was, wow, look how this has transformed the country and the eyeballs they're getting into it and the tourism. And so they've sort of going to all these sort of places. How have you got into doing Kazakhstan? I mean, tell us how that came around.
That's a mad story. We brought Ray Boom Boom Mancini over for a show, one of our dinner shows we were doing, the Excelsior Sporting Club, and I picked him up in London. Got a call from a friend of mine that they've got an event on at the Dorchester in London, and I just said, look, I've got Ray Mancini with me. I'll come along to it. And when we were at the event, we were introduced to a very successful Kazakh businessman who showed his interest in boxing and wanted to meet Ray. And then suddenly said how he knew Golovkin. And at the end of the conversation, we were chatting away, and he said, would you like to do some shows in Kazakhstan with us? So that's how just a quick story of how it came about. But yeah, a mad one. And we've obviously said yes. That was almost a year ago. Been working on it very hard for the last sort of 9-10 months. And 5th of April in Astana, in the huge ice hockey stadium of Barry Stadium is the venue. So
lovely.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Scott, I can't remember, I recall speaking to you on when I've been presenting the show in the past, but obviously, you know, we're covering a lot of top-line events at the moment. We've talked about a lot of them tonight. Obviously, talkSPORT is showing February the 22nd next week, and we're over there covering it, a massive card in Saudi Arabia. Since Saudi Arabian investment, I don't mean to belittle what you're doing, but because small hall shows, for those listening or watching, are a massive part of the lifeblood of the development of many, many boxers in the world of boxing as they grow through the levels. How good, bad, indifferent, good, bad or ugly has it been since the transformation of the sport over the last 16 months by the Saudi Arabian investment in Turkey Al-Sheikh?
What? How good is it? You mean how is it?
How's it impacted on you? Yes.
On smaller shows, I don't think it's affected us. I think some of your medium and bigger shows it probably affected. I mean, we traditionally, you know, I've done shows with John Pegg in Birmingham, and we do our Excelsior Sporting Club dinner shows. So it's not really affected us. And we'll have fighters on there like Sam Eggington, and Shaq Pitters, just to keep them active. And I think they then move on to bigger things after those little shows. So it's not really affected us.
But are you finding greater interest from the general public in boxing?
I think you're right, yeah. I think it's created huge interest from non-boxing fans who got on board. So I think there's an opportunity there to expand on it.
Listen, you've been around in the sport a very long time. We asked Frank Warren this earlier, and I think we should ask you. Can you remember or recall a better card, top to bottom, than February the 22nd with Beterbiev, Bivol, Dubois, Parker et al. Next Saturday night?
I can't think I can, yeah. I think he's one of the best ever. You go back all those years, all the decades, even in the 80s, you know, great top of the bills, but not undercards like you're getting now. I think it's absolutely fantastic for the sport.
Yeah, Scott, I think this is, you know, with what's going on in the landscape of boxing now globally, I think it creates opportunity actually for promoters like yourself. You know, you do great stuff up in Cannock and you bring all the fighters back and you do the after-dinner stuff, and that is fantastic. Good boxer yourself, by the way. Amateur, great record as an amateur, didn't quite turn pro, which was unfortunate. But
that's massive praise coming from Spencer, by the way. He's putting you in the Hall of Fame there. With that.
Listen, if anyone knew Scott Murray and knew his background, and you know, it was very unfortunate the reason why you didn't do that, because you was working on a door at the time, and an incident happened outside which stopped your box pro career from blossoming. But I'm hearing, actually, Scott, that you would have gone on to at least be British, possibly even European champion at minimum. Like that was the sort of level where you was at.
I think I've done okay, yeah. Yeah, my dad was in the nightclub business, and as you said, unfortunately got hit by a bottle and broke my jaw at the time. But yeah, I mean, you know, you just move on, and yeah, good times over in Houston, Texas, with Jesse Reed as well, training over there with Frank Tate and Orlando Canizales and Iron Barkley and all those boys. But yeah, you move on. and things are pretty good now. So,
Scott, we wish you all the best with the April 5th card. I hope you manage to get an opponent and get Gennady in the ring to have a fight as well. Thank you so much for joining us. That's 5th of April if you're heading to Astana, Kazakhstan. I'm sure that there are plenty of flights out there. Scott Murray, thank you very much indeed. I've got a read here, and it's 2025 marks 25 years of talkSPORT. And to celebrate, we're giving you, our loyal listeners and viewers now, the chance to win 25 big ones. That's right, £25,000 completely tax-free. Well, all you have to do to get involved is text the word CASH, C-A-S-H, to 83338, or you can enter by post. That's 83338. Once again, for a chance to get your hands on that £25,000, text the word CASH to 83338 or enter by post. A very good luck to you.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. Enter by SMS for £2 plus one standard network charge by 11 p.m. on March the 3rd, 2025. Or send your name, email and contact number to £25,000 cash competition. PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on March the 6th, 2025. This is a news broadcasting network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. Back to you in the studio.
Arsenal have come so close the past couple of seasons, but it looks like injury could delay their long wait for a title. So off the back of the devastating injury news about Kai Havertz, how does Mikel Arteta feel?
Big pain in the tummy.
They have had some bad luck with injuries, but are Arsenal fans in danger of becoming a little bit Spursy?
The injuries that we've had to obviously Bukayo, who's like one of the main players. Then you look at Odegaard was out for a while. Obviously, Havertz got his hamstring injury, and the squad.
Sorry, is it Perry or is it Ange? I can't work out who's in here. Sorry.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just telling you the facts, mate. That's what we do, mate.
Regardless, Troy Deeney's got no sympathy about their lack of a striker because surely they've known for ages that they clearly need one.
We keep talking about January. This issue has been going on for 18 months now, so they could have done it in the summer. So could have got an Ivan Toney and the like. Yes, there was a few bits around it, but if you were really serious, we all know, very good goalkeeper, solid back four, an excellent back four. Midfield is excellent. Wide players are really good. It's just that one key piece, isn't it, to get them over the line.
We'll find out how they fare without Havertz in the early kick-off tomorrow against Leicester, which is live on talkSPORT. Another striker out for a lengthy period is Nicholas Jackson. He'll miss Chelsea's second clash with Brighton this week. But former Chelsea midfielder Steve Sidwell reckons it's a good opportunity for other players to step up.
Your Sanchos, your Maduekis and Kunku probably you could say has been a bit unfair with the run of games that he has, but he's got a chance now of possibly getting a string of games of together now.
That one's live here on talkSPORT this evening. Sticking on the subject of strikers, it's Haaland versus Isak tomorrow, and Eddie Howe was asked if this is the battle of Europe's best strikers.
Yeah, certainly. I think when you look at Haaland's consistency over a long period of time, there's no doubting that, and Alex is certainly doing the same. We're looking to try and get him in the game as much as we can. We need to provide the foundation for him to perform at his best levels.
And on Sunday, Liverpool take on Wolves. Arne Slot spoken for the first time since his post-match red card during those chaotic scenes at Goodison.
The emotions got the better of me, and if I could do that differently, if I look back at it, I would love to do it differently.
You can listen to all the Sunday goals as they go in on the Sunday session, live here on talkSPORT.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen Oliver. In the last hour up to midnight, we discuss the 4-fight deal for Saul Canelo Alvarez with Turki Al Sheikh and the impact on the boxing landscape. Michaela Mayer joins us live from the United States. She's fighting Sandy Ryan, the British fighter, again for a world title after Paintgate. We'll get deep into that one. George Glinsky, talkSPORT's boxing writer, joins us for our regular feature on talksport.com. And we will give our predictions, Mr. Oliver and I, on that February 22nd card with those extraordinary fights to come live on talkSPORT next week. Fight Night on talkSPORT. Right, you. Final hour. What a show we've had tonight. So, my favourite 3 hours of the week with you, because the rest of the time we're just arguing.
We hadn't had one row.
I know, it's slightly disappointing tonight.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It was Valentine's yesterday.
There you go.
You was thinking of me, weren't you?
Oh, it was.
That's what there you go.
Love hearts to you, Spencer Oliver. Love hearts to you. So glad you're here. And I really am so glad you're here for many different reasons and on many different levels. What the most important one is that you survived a catastrophic injury in your boxing career, and I think you're a better person for it 26 years on. Do you?
Absolutely.
Good, because you treasure every day, don't you?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Look, Saul Canelo Alvarez this week, Turki Al Sheikh. extricated him diplomatically and in business terms and very shrewdly from a potential fight with Jake Paul in May that was going to go ahead, that was almost signed, posters done, all those kind of things, for a 4-fight deal with proper fights, probably William Skull for a world title unification in May, which will probably be in Las Vegas, the traditional May event, Cinco de Mayo. September, we believe. Sorry, I think it's in Riyadh. In September, we'll get the Terence Crawford fight, and then 2 fights next year as well to complete the 4-fight deal. We hope it might be a Chris Eubank Jr. or a Hamza Shiraz,
Benavidez,
or Jose Benavidez, David Benavidez, not Jose Benavidez, David Benavidez. For the landscape of boxing, for the fact that Canelo wouldn't have had to go into an acting career against Jake Paul and play the pantomime and play the game, was this a fantastic outcome for boxing?
Absolutely. Listen, Jake Paul's doing his thing, and let him do that, and he's fighting the ex-fighters and the UFC fighters, and I totally understand it. There's a space for that. But we're talking about Canelo Alvarez here, who's a modern-day great, one of
Top
the best...
6 pound for pound
absolutely,
in anyone's
and he'll
book.
go down in history as one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
Yeah.
We don't want to see him in these pantomime fights against Jake Paul, because he's not all about that. He's earned a lot of money, and yeah, I understand there's money on the table to fight Jake Paul, but we need to see him now. He's in the twilight of his career, been around a long time, 20 years nearly as a professional. We need to see him in the fights now. He needs these fights in the next year or so against David Benavidez, Terence Crawford. What a fight that would be. We would love to see that.
I think we're getting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're definitely
getting it because he's done this deal now with Turkey Al-Sheikh. Otherwise, it may have gone down a horribly wrong path, and I think that ruins Canelo's legacy if he would have done that. So now we're going to get the fights that we want, that we've craved to see, and Canelo in real fights.
The crowning piece, obviously, you expect the unexpected in boxing, and it could go horribly wrong against William Skull in
William Skull's
May.
a good fighter,
He
by the
is
way.
a good fighter. He is a veritable world champion, a bona fide IBF, bona fide world champion. Canelo was the undisputed champion. We're talking about super middleweight here, by the way. For me, that September fight, that glorious Las Vegas September fight, which is unmissable, it is frankly unmissable, is a hark back to Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler all those years ago.
100%.
The super fight of super fights.
Yeah.
The darling against the destroyer. The great chin, the skill sets. They compare in many ways, because Sugar Ray Leonard won it, and I think we both already, because I've heard you talk about it, I've already put kind of nailed my colours to the mast. I think Terence Crawford wins it on points.
Yeah, I'm with
in a
you.
Brilliant fight.
Listen, I think that Terence is daring to be great. He's stepping up a couple of weight divisions to take on, the man of the era, the man that's dominated the division for so long. But I think stylistically, Terence Crawford's got it. I think he'll grow into the size well. He's a big guy that boils down to welterweight, and I think that we'll see him on super welterweight, and we'll see him go up there, and I think he'll win the fight. I think Canelo's style has adapted somewhat now. Where he used to throw punches in bunches, he's now loads up with every shot, single shots, and I think that the movement, the angles, the hand speed, the boxing IQ of Terence Crawford wins in a fantastic fight.
And if it's brilliant, they rematch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which people haven't been talking about very much.
And who wins? The fans.
Absolutely. If it's a close fight. Do you think that Hamza Shiraz, if he comes to his fight against Carlos Adames and has another fight in between, this is February the 22nd he's fighting, do you think next year Hamza Shiraz might be ready for Canelo as well?
If he comes through Carlos Adames, who's the WBC champion, undefeated, very good Cuban, switch hitter, very heavy-handed as well.
Adames favourite for you?
Adames would probably start a slight favourite being the champion, and I think it's all about... Do you know why? Adames has proven at this level. Now, Hamza Shiraz has been doing brilliantly, and we've seen him knocking off all these fighters, and that Ammo Williams performance was sensational, and he's delivered Tyler Denny as well. He went out there and dismantled the European champion, but this is the coming-of-age fight now for Hamza Shiraz. I like Shiraz. I think he's a great fighter. Real 50-50 this one, and I think that It's a very, very tough fight. Adames
He's got power. He's got so much power, Shiraz, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Size and reach.
And he works so well on the inside. He works at long range.
Yeah. He's ridiculously big.
Adames on paper may start favourite, but Shiraz has the style to win it. I think he's a fantastic... Out of all the fights on the bill...
Don't pick it yet, because we're doing
I'm not going to.
We're picking at the end of the show tonight, remember?
But that is a great, great fight.
It really is. So just to complete the round on that, so the Saudi boxing chief, Turki Al-Sheikh, revealed that Canelo will fight on May the 3rd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, against William Skull before travelling to Las Vegas to compete in his usual September slot against the man we're talking about, Terence Bud Crawford. And then in 2026, he will then box in Riyadh again in February and October. And there's a bandwidth in time there. And what's great at the moment is knowing that we're not just planning the next 4 or 5 months that we've talked about, that's so exciting for boxing. Plans are being made already into 2026.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention it much earlier, but this April 26th card, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., it's on the cover of Ring magazine. I've just written the cover story for it. That's going to be really big. There's a lot of people poo-pooing that fight. I think it will be a sellout. I think it will do more than 1 million in pay-per-view buys. I think it will be a big extravaganza. I think when the two men come together very soon for press conferences, I think it will ignite Spencer Oliver.
It'll be a fantastic...
35 years of bloodline of rivalry.
Absolutely. Feuds that go back, and these two are like Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, two iconic figures. You know, you go back, that era was something that fighters of today still remember, and they are their father's sons. It's going to be huge.
The apple does not fall far from the tree with those two. Coming up next, by the way, Michaela Mayer joins us, the welterweight boxer. Sandy Ryan will fight her for the second time on March the 29th at the theatre at Madison Square Garden in New York. Of course, it was Paintgate last time. We'll get into that after the break. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A. Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen Oliver. Now, Michaela Mayer, the world champion at welterweight, fights British female fighter Sandy Ryan for a second time. It's on March 29th at Madison Square Garden in New York. But before we speak to her, she's on the line. Take a little listen to this.
Left and then a right. Michaela Mayer in control. And this one quickly ends for Michaela Mayer. And the new WBO welterweight champion of the world, Michaela
Mayer. Michaela Mayer, good evening. How are you? Are you in Las Vegas?
I'm in Las Vegas, just chilling out by the pool, enjoying my weekends.
Oh, as you do. It's cold, raining and wet here, but you just enjoy yourself by the pool. You look very well indeed. You look fit and ready for your fight with Sandy Ryan. I spoke to Sandy Ryan by text earlier today. She was driving to Los Angeles, I think. Now, you and her don't get on. We've got to ask you, first of all, Paintgate. It's been one of those bizarre stories. People have blamed you for it. How bizarre do you find it that paint was thrown on her, I think, in the hours before you fought last year? Is it an odd one for you to get your head around as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was just as shocked as everyone to hear that. I was literally upstairs about to come out of my hotel room. They were trying to plan it because we both had cars coming in. We didn't want to run into each other. And I was waiting by the elevator to go down. And we got a text that had happened. So I was just as shocked. You know, I know everyone pointed the finger at me. Her team wanted to point the finger at me, her fans. But anyone who knows me knows that the team I came up with, that's out of character. You know, I would never go that far and try and sabotage a fight that I worked extremely hard for. And she could have very easily pulled out of that fight. So that wasn't on me. That was on what I've said before, maybe her team. You know, the way her team responded and reacted to that was a little suspicious to me. I don't know what Coach K's agenda was. I think he knew that Sandy couldn't beat me and it was a tough fight. I think he knows that me as a fighter, I'm a strong mental fighter, and I was going to go in there and give it my best. And he sees Sandy as weak, and he just didn't see her coming out on top. So I don't know what his plan was, but he was very out of character when he went backstage with her and tried to scream and yell at her and try and convince her to pull out of the fight and leave the arena. So definitely unfortunate event. I think it was uncalled for and too much, and I would never have gone that far. But at the end of the day, you know, we're fighters and shit happens, and you
that has not made themselves public, that loves you so much and is trying to protect you in a weird way, that's what happened. Because if it isn't you or your team, and I'm not casting any aspersions on you doing it, obviously, I know you very well myself as well. We both do. We've known you a long time. But is that the probability that it's some crazed fan who's done it?
Listen, you know, we're both, you know, I'm an American, she's a Brit. You have some really passionate boxing fans out there. You know, I don't know. It's rumored that Sandy's not a very likable person in her hometown, which is probably why she's out here in my turf training and trying to find a team. She can't find one back in her home, but maybe it was someone who just despises Sandy. I don't know. It's honestly not my problem. People have made it my problem. I don't support it, obviously, because I worked extremely hard for that fight, and I wouldn't want anything like that to take the opportunity away from me. But yeah, it could very easily have been a fan.
Michaela, listen, after all the dramas, we finally got the fight, and it was a fantastic fight. You both put on a brilliant spectacle. You won that fight. The rematch is now going on again. She was calling all sorts of, you know, because of what happened before the fight, you know, it affected her performance, etc., etc. So she tries to right the wrongs of that last contest. But one thing we can guarantee with you two girls is we can expect fireworks and we're going to get a fantastic fight. And that's what I love about women in boxing, that you girls are delivering all the time.
100%. You know, I consider... Okay, chill. I definitely wanted the rematch.
It's a crazed fan trying to get in or something.
Or he liked what I said, one of the two.
Shut up. I wasn't opposed to the rematch, but I wanted to see, you know, what after 2 years of trying to get my belts back, I wanted to go look at the drawing board and see, okay, what's the best move business-wise for me for the next step in my career. But, we got the numbers back from that fight. They were extremely high. Everyone loved it. And, that's what I'm about at the end of the day. I want to give the fans the fight that they want to see. So people wanted to see it. The other champions are tied up. I said, all right, I never got my rematches. So I said, let me get Bandy for a rematch. And, hopefully nothing crazy goes down, doesn't have an excuse, and I can kind of shut up the people who are saying that she wasn't mentally prepared to fight that night. So she gets a second chance.
You obviously the rivalry between you, the argumentation that she'd come into your camp and done the wrong thing, and I love all that because it ignites a fire under both of you. You're both great fighters. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, should you win this, we've got a massive all-women's fight at the Albert Hall as well between Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas. Are you targeting the winner of those two? Do those women appeal to you to fight as well?
Yeah, of course. I've always been the type. I mean, even since years ago when I first started chasing the belts, I always said I wanted to go undisputed. Even when it wasn't really the craze, I wanted to go undisputed. I wanted to collect all the belts. Why not challenge yourself against the best in your division? And obviously the girls who have the belts are the best in your division. So I didn't get there as a lightweight. I did my best and I fell short. And now I'm at welterweight and I have the, I'm back in position and I have the opportunity to do that again. So absolutely, whoever comes out on top between Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price, I'm willing to, go up against and hopefully become undisputed champion by the end of the year.
Are you the fact that you starved your body of weight for a very long time? You're virtually 6 foot tall. Those extra 12 pounds must make a massive difference to you in your life from 135 to 147.
I feel amazing, and there's a part of me that wishes I would have moved up a little bit sooner, but
Agreed.
then also no, because I did what I had to do. I was in position at lightweight. Those were the big fights for me. That's where the opportunity was for me, and I did what I had to do. And so, I don't regret it. It was a rough 2 years, but I'm a fighter, and I always believed I'd be back in position, and that's where I am now. So I don't want to go back and think like maybe I should have done things differently because I'm in a good position now. I just need to capitalize on that. It's hard. Sometimes things happen and you don't realize why, and it takes a long time. And I kept asking myself, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Why did things not go according to plan? And now it's almost taken 2 years for me to finally look back and say, okay, things are falling into place.
Can I ask? Can I ask about the massive investment from the Saudi Arabians hasn't impacted on the women's side of the sport yet. Do you expect it to, and are you going to call for that as well?
Sorry. I don't know what Turkey's plan is to include women. I obviously would be 100% on board if he wanted to promote a female fight. I think there's a handful of female fights that he might potentially be interested in. A rematch with me and Baumgartner would be massive. And, even Clarissa and I have spoken about going up against each other at 154 after this year. So I think there's some really big fights that he could potentially be swayed for. But that's on him. At the end of the day, I'm just going to keep fighting and doing what I got to do. And if he wants to turn his eye and look into it, then I'm here and I'm ready.
Yeah, we've seen you over here in Britain a couple of times, and the British fight fans loved you. You come over here and you worked as a commentator as well. You do a fantastic job at that. Are we going to get a chance to see you over here again, Michaela?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm just kidding. I love fighting in the UK. I love the UK fans. I really do. I really do. It's been a little bit, upsetting with the few fights that I've had over there and the decisions.
The scoring's been quite poor, to be fair. Like, when you're talking about the Natasha Jonas fight and the Alicia Baumgartner fight as well. Yeah, the boxing gods certainly weren't with you on those nights, were they?
They weren't, and it didn't go my way. It's made me a better fighter. I can always do more, and I can always get better, and I plan to make it even clearer next time. Granted, I get my rematches, but I think that since Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas are unifying the rest of the belts, they'll have 3, I'll have 1, and it only makes sense that they would get the fight on their territory. So I'm not opposed to going back to the UK, especially for big fights. I'm not gonna not unify the division and not challenge the best because of location. I've gone there. I've done it before. I have the experience. I love the fans. I think I have a great following over there. So I just have to make it more decisive.
Well, we wish you well in camp. Don't forget to bring that guitar, like I told you, the next time we see you, and play guitar at the end of your victories. Okay. You won by majority decision last time out against Sandy Ryan. I'm sure you're going to put in a massive camp ahead of March the 29th at the Madison Square Garden Theatre in New York. Michaela, it's always great to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davison. Him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. You can grin, sir. Joining us now to bring us right up to date with everything fight sports on talksport.com is combat sports writer George Galinsky. George, one story at a time, please. How are you?
How are we doing, Gareth?
Very well, thank you. Always nice to hear from you. Our new segment on the show on Fight Night every week. Oh, you're in your girlfriend's parents' house again, I see.
I'm here again. They can't get rid of me.
They stick you in the attic there. Yeah, I hope they let you out of the attic at some point to feed you. Or do they put food under the door?
It's becoming a bit of a regular theme, this, George.
I know.
You squatter, you.
This is what happens on a Saturday. You get me on a Sunday, it might be a different story.
Very quick one from you. Did you watch Barboza and Catterall?
I did.
How did you score it?
I actually had it a draw. I hate to
There you go.
Tennis guys.
How unlucky is Jack Catterall, we were saying here in the studio, by the way. Very. All right, let's get to our stories. You give us 3 stories a week, one at a time, please. Give us story number 3 from the website this week.
Well, number 3 is the interview with Oleksandr Usyk. I sat down with him at the London Eye a couple of days ago, and it was an absolutely fantastic chat we had about his future, obviously talking about his next steps. He wants to fight the winner of Parker and Dubois. And interestingly, the story that really hit home for us was him reacting to Tyson Fury's retirement. So he doesn't think he's going to retire. I think a lot of guys don't. Gareth, I know you're not necessarily believing that Tyson's stepping away from the sport, and Usyk is of the same thinking.
Spencer, what did you make of the interview?
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic interview. It was interesting, actually, George, that he said when asked what was his hardest fight, that he replied,
Derek Chisora.
Derek Chisora, yeah.
That was fascinating.
That was fascinating. It was a great interview, by the way, mate. You conducted that very well.
And rather than me respond to it, I want to ask, what was your feeling like about Oleksandr Usyk this time as you sat there? You were in the London Eye, weren't you, in a little compartment in the London Eye? I think Tony Bellew was lurking somewhere as well. Yeah. How did Oleksandr feel to you?
Very calm, very relaxed. I don't think there's another boxer that can go around the London Eye 5 times with multiple members of the media and still be chirpsy. You know, I would be very angry myself. So
because it moves so slowly, doesn't it? You don't realise how slowly it goes around.
And Jules, you missed that there, mate. When he said to you, how did Oleksandr feel to you? You should have said, very feel.
Never mind. You'll get the cues as you come on more regularly. You've been in that attic in the girlfriend's parents' house for too long. That's clearly...
Is there no windows up there, George, or what? You get lack of oxygen.
You've got to find a new venue next week. Let's move to the hottest boxing story. Story number 2, George.
Story number 2, just to divert away from my current setting, is the WBA president Gilberto Mendoza suggesting that he's considering trialling 15-round fights for undisputed fights. Quite a controversial one, considering obviously the history, the death of Kim Dok-Koo in that 14-round brawl with Ray Mancini back in 1982. That, of course, led to multiple sanctioning bodies moving from 15 to 12 rounds for world title fights. So it's not gone down massively well. I've just seen Turki Al-Sheikh going on Twitter and suggesting that it would be a disservice for that to happen. I have to say I agree with him, to be quite honest with you.
Spencer, let me get the answer from you, because you boxed, 12 3-minute rounds. We know how exhausted fighters get in those 2 championship rounds, 11 and 12.
Absolutely. Listen, I've got strong feelings on this one, and I think it should be, it was cut to 12 rounds for a reason. There were fighters getting injured and fighters losing their lives after the 15-round fights. And if you look back in history and in careers of fighters that were doing 15-round fights and the after effects that it had on these fighters, and people will be saying, well, it was only an extra 3 rounds. But when you're tired and the fatigue sets in and you're getting punched in the head for 3 minutes of 3 rounds in those last 3 rounds, when there's lack of oxygen, dehydration, it's not a good thing. And I think for the health and safety of boxers, what if it's not broke, don't fix it. 12 rounds is great.
And I'll add to that, and the research work was, of course, done by the Jose Suleiman, the father of Mauricio. The WBC instigated this first of all. You look at some of the medical evidence, the facts and figures on fighters after 36 minutes. For some weird reason, I mean, God didn't create, the universe didn't create 12 3-minute rounds, but there's aerobic and anaerobic reasons why people do get fatigued. 36 minutes is a very long fight. To increase it to 45 minutes, after what we've seen in the change in human beings, George, over all this time, I don't know, and I know Gilberto Mendoza very well, I don't know why he's trying to instigate and suggest this.
I think it was off the back of those comments from Teofimo Lopez on a recent podcast suggesting this. Then Gilberto's obviously bounced off of that. But as you say, it's not something that's going to go down well with the wider boxing fraternity.
I don't think it will happen, personally.
Gilberto, calm down, my son. Calm down. We only need 12 rounds.
So, George, the biggest, greatest, widest, deepest, most performing story of the week?
Not quite as deep as that story, but obviously performed really well for us. The 6 boxers featuring on the top 100 highest paid sports stars of 2024. That's double the amount that it was last year, which is obviously a credit, I think, to the Saudi investment we've seen. I wonder if you guys can guess the top 2.
Right, well, it's Fury, Usyk, Joshua.
Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 is correct, yeah?
You've got 4 correct, yeah.
Nui.
Yep.
And the 6th one is going to be... The 6th one is... Do you know the 6th one, Spence?
I do.
You've got them written down. I'm trying to... Tease me.
Like Jules, there's lack of oxygen in here. I'm struggling at the moment.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Could it be... I mean, is it... How many times did Artur Beterbiev fight last year?
No.
I can tell you it's not Artur Beterbiev.
Canelo Alvarez.
There we go.
Yeah.
My brain went, mate. Sorry, George, lack of oxygen, son.
And Canelo Alvarez, I think, with a 4-fight deal with Turki Al Sheikh, set to be very high in the rankings by the end of 2026, by the way.
Absolutely. And that Terence Crawford fight is going to be a massive factor in that one. I mean, a lot of money surely on the line for that one. Skull, who knows? I mean, he always earns massive paydays. I was quite surprised to see him so high, considering it was Munguia and Belanga, who aren't exactly massive names, but that kind of tells you the star power of Canelo, doesn't it?
So you're trapped in the attic. We've established that. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen you. I've seen you on the London Eye, but I've only seen you in the last 3 weeks trapped in that attic. So I think you live in there. I don't believe your story deep down.
You're looking a little bit pale there, mate.
Sit there all the time writing stories. What are you going to do from the attic for next week on talkSPORT? What are the stories upcoming?
Well, we've got a lot of exclusives coming through. We've got Lamont Roach, of course, ahead of his fight with Gervonta Davies on March the 1st. We've got a Beterbiev exclusive coming, talking about his crazy training techniques and the secret behind his power to look out for as well. And, of course, we haven't got a poll this week, but next week we will on the fastest hands in boxing. We've got a feature coming up on that. So
come on, let's do that. Who do we think's got the fastest hands in boxing then? Come on, George.
I'm going with Roy Jones Jr. That's the name that pops into my head.
I see. Historically, I'm going for Gervonta Davies right now.
No, what current?
I think current Gervonta Davies.
And all time.
All time. Roy Jones Jr. is a great shout.
It's Sugar Ray Leonard's up there.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think those are the 3. I mean, the only other one that was coming to my head was Gary Russell Jr. with a bit of a left field one, of course, super featherweight champion, but deceptively quick hands.
But rarely fought when he was world champion. Once every 18 months.
When he did, you didn't see the punches.
But when he did, you could not see the punches.
There you go.
Well, listen, George, what are you looking forward to most of all? I've got a couple of minutes left with you here before we put you back in the attic and push the food under the door.
He's in the attic, mate. He's in the attic. No, let's get into this a little bit here. Well, now you've done it, let's open this up a little bit. Not the attic. Not the attic I'm talking about. But you're there, George. I mean, set the scene for us. I mean, is there anybody sort of like putting any oxygen in there, feeding you any food? I mean, when are you let out? Is it like once a week to go to the London Eye and see Oleksandr Usyk? How's it work, mate?
Well, 3 days a week to go into the office, but apart from that,
You're
just in the attic, yeah. Brilliant. Which fight are you? We're going to in the last segment tonight. We're going to pick all our fighters who we believe will win in Riyadh. Obviously, it's live on talkSPORT next weekend. This mega card, one of the greatest cards of all time. No one else can find a better card. Although we found one from 1981 earlier that Frank Warren was very impressed with. Who do you see winning, if you do picks, who do you see winning the top two events next weekend with Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol and Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker? Give us your picks.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because Bivol, I felt he did everything he could in the last fight, and I almost crazily have this idea that he'll have to push even further and probably walk on to something. So I'm actually going for a Beterbiev knockout, which is very out of the blue, and I'm also going for a Daniel Dubois knockout as well. So
what an acca that is. Double knockout from George Glinsky. George, we'll catch you in the attic very soon. Enjoy your week, enjoy your freedom, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Cheers, George.
Cheers, George.
Guys. Good one.
Now 2025 marks 25 years of talkSPORT, and to celebrate we are giving you, our loyal listeners, the chance to win 25 big ones. That's right, £25,000 completely tax free. Well, all you have to do to get involved is text the word cash to 83338, or you can enter by post. Once again, for a chance to get your hands on that £25,000, text the word cash to 83338 or enter by post. Good luck.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. Enter by SMS for £2 plus one standard network charge by 11 p.m. on March the 3rd, 2025. Or send your name, email and contact number to £25,000 cash competition. PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on March the 6th, 2025. This is a news broadcasting network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. Back to you in the studio.
Now, next Saturday night, talkSPORT brings you live commentary of the undisputed light heavyweight showdown as Artur Beterbiev defends his titles against Dmitry Bivol in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Subscribe to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel and stay tuned for exclusive content from Riyadh throughout Fight Week. That's Beterbiev versus Bivol, live and free to listen to next Saturday night, and we will indeed be there. Myself, Spencer and John Rawling, with Romario and Ed completing the team, our producer and cameraman. Now, we said we'd pick that card. We're going to put our necks on the block here. No doubt we will be right on some, wrong on some. Let's get to it. Joshua Buatsi against Callum Smith for Buatsi's WBO light heavyweight interim title. Spencer Oliver, who you've got and why?
Just before I get into it, this card is very, very tough. 50-50 fights all down the card in this one. Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith. I think the momentum is with Joshua Buatsi, and he would start the favourite, but you can never write off Callum Smith because you just don't know. One more performance in him.
I think it's a 52-48 for me in favour of Joshua Buatsi, and I see him winning on points.
I'll go with that.
Points.
There you go.
Zhilei Zhang versus Agit Kabayel. We're looking at probably the number 5 and number 7 in the world in the heavyweight division now for the vacant WBC interim heavyweight title.
Now, I think we're going to disagree on this one because I'm going to go with Zhilei Zhang. I think Zhilei Zhang will win this contest, and I think he wins it on points.
Well, I think if it goes to points, I think Agit Kabayel will win it. I think Zhang will be very dangerous early for the first 6 rounds. He looked in great shape when we sat down with him at the Westminster Plaza Hotel about 4 weeks ago, was it? 4 or 5 weeks ago. He looked leaner than he has done. His problem is cardio. We've seen that. He had a very close fight with Joseph Parker, knocked him down twice early in the fight. Such a big man. 40 years of age, extraordinarily. I'm going... I've got Zhang dangerous early, Kabayel winning on points.
Yeah.
It's a really tough pick. I think Kabayel is a formidable fighter.
He really is.
Very fresh. And I think he's resurgent like Parker and Dubois in the division. I'm going Kabayel points.
Very underrated Kabayel, by the way.
Yeah,
Great win against Sanchez. Body shots could be key.
Or even Kabayel late stoppage, by the way.
Yeah. Body shots could be key. You're talking about Zhilei Zhang and he slows down in those later rounds, but body shots take that out of you as well. Interesting fight. 50-50 for me.
Now, this could fill a stadium in America. Virgil Ortiz plays the piano and the guitar against Israel Madrimov, who lost narrowly to Terence Crawford in Los Angeles last August for Ortiz Jr.'s WBC World interim super welterweight title, light middleweight I like to call it. This is such a great fight. I am going Virgil Ortiz on points, or even... because I think he's so brilliant, even late stoppage.
Tough one again. Virgil Ortiz, 22 fights, 22 wins, 21 knockouts. Incredible fight, formidable. Madrimov is a great fighter, like you say, pushed Crawford all the way. Very, very tough. Stylistically, these two are going to clash, meet early in the centre of the ring. I'm with you, Gareth. I go for Ortiz to win this one, and it's going to be a war, possibly even a bloodbath, but I think Ortiz wins, possibly by stoppage.
Yeah, well, and when you look at what Madrimov's made of, he's like granite. He's a brilliant guy. Carlos Adames, the undefeated WBC middleweight champion, against one of our greatest rising stars at the moment, Hamza Shiraz. I'll put my neck on the block first of all. It's a really tough fight for Hamza Shiraz. He may not win this. Something in me wants to pick Carlos Adames, but I'm going to go with Hamza Shiraz because I think he's got special power as a 6'5" middleweight, and I just think he's got enough, and he's at the right time to get the job done.
Yep, Carlos Adames, great champion, WBC champion. This is for the WBC title. Out of his 24 victories, only 1 defeat. 18 of those by the way of KO. Very, very heavy-handed, switch hitter, boxes out the southpaw style as well as he does the orthodox style. But for me, Hamza Shiraz, this is the night the Prince gets crowned king. I think Hamza Shiraz wins the fight.
I cannot believe I'm now saying this is also on the card because you almost forget it's on there. young prospect, undefeated, very talented Floyd Schofield is an underdog against Shakur Stevenson, one of the silkiest fighters on the planet right now. People complain that he looks too comfortable in the office and he doesn't go for the stoppage when he's dominating other opponents. Floyd will stretch him, but I don't think he's experienced enough to take the victory off Shakur Stevenson. Stranger things have happened in boxing, but I see Shakur defending his WBC lightweight crown.
Yep, totally agree with that. Shakur Stevenson, for the boxing purists, they absolutely love him. Reminds me of a young Floyd Mayweather. You know, very, very difficult to beat. Shoulder roll, works the angles well, shot selection's incredible, judgment of distance, all of that. He's got everything. Floyd Schofield is the kid coming up. 18-0, 12 of those by way of KO. Switch hitter, but goes square sometimes. I think that will be his downfall. He'll stand in front of him too long, too square. He'll be trying to chase the fight with Shakur Stevenson, who I think runs out a clear, wide points winner.
How cool is Shakur as well?
Very cool. What a kid.
He is, and when we sat down with him, again a few weeks ago, we sat down with all of these fighters, didn't we? We had an amazing time with all of them. And for me, there's an air about Shakur that is very rare. Do you agree with me?
I told you
there's an air about him.
He reminds me of Floyd Mayweather in so many ways, not just
agree.
stylistically, because he fights similar to Floyd. Not just
the confidence is born of because he's so talented.
He's got an aura around him. You know,
I agree.
we interviewed him last week, and he's a cracking kid, and he's the start of the future.
In the last 3 minutes, these two fights: Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Barker for Dubois' IBF heavyweight title. Joseph's become a much bigger man. He'll weigh more than Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois is a wrecking ball right now. If Parker can weather an early storm, it could be a very dangerous fight for Dubois, but I just think Dubois will get a stoppage round 6 to 8, and I'm pinning it to those fights, but I just think he's like an Exocet missile. He's going for victory. Dubois by knockout.
Yep, there's another fight where you go 52-48 in favour of Daniel Dubois. You just lean towards Dubois. Momentum's with both of these guys. You know, I think that they both reinventing themselves incredibly. You go Daniel Dubois back in 2022 when he lost, you know, to Joe Joyce. You wonder where his career was going. Then that Oleksandr Usyk loss as well. Joseph Parker reinventing himself against Zhilei Zhang, Deontay Wilder. What a cracking fight. I go for the young lion, Daniel Dubois. I think he wins the fight. And you're right, it could get interesting if we get into the second half.
And the main event for the last crescendo, as we just wind down the show, Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, the undisputed light heavyweight title fight for Beterbiev's WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO and Ring Magazine belts. I'm picking Bivol on points this time. It goes against the grain. I picked Bivol the first time. I had Beterbiev winning 7-5. I just think Bivol will be smarter this time around.
No, I think that Beterbiev wins wider this time. I think that what Beterbiev was carrying...
I want a trilogy, that's why.
Yeah, I know you do. He was carrying an injury, coming off an injury, going into that last contest. Some preparation may have not been as good as what it could have been previously. I go for Beterbiev. I think that what you see behind the monster, behind that wrecking machine, that wrecking ball that comes forward, there's a boxing IQ there. He's smart in what he does. There's
punches in
pressure.
bunches. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Beterbiev wins as well. It's such a difficult pick. I'm only picking Bivol because I want the third fight. Next Saturday, talkSPORT's going to bring you live commentary of this undisputed light heavyweight showdown as Beterbiev defends all those belts against Bivol in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Subscribe to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel and stay tuned for exclusive content from Riyadh throughout Fight Week. We will be there for you. That's Beterbiev versus Bivol, live and free to listen to next Saturday night on talkSPORT. Thanks for being with us tonight. We have enjoyed ourselves so much. Thanks to all our guests, and we head to Riyadh tomorrow. Thank you, Spencer Oliver.
Thank you so much, and yep, it's going to be a fantastic week all across the YouTube channels.
We will see you in Riyadh.